So
Couldn't tell you.
you don't have a position or no position or anything else right now, right?
Yes, I did. Yes.
On this?
Oh,
So when we get to that, you're going to read
Mayor.
that?
I am going to bring up the
Mayor.
small errors in the ordinance also.
we're live.
Great. Okay, we're live.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Not that I know. She has an updated version.
Oh, well, I haven't seen the updated
Okay,
version.
can you, for the ordinance, call the election?
Jonathan, are you in the room? Pastor Jonathan? All right, hold on. Shuffling cards here.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So, yeah, if people get a form.
Yes, I am in the room.
Call the meeting to order.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is February 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. I want to call the council meeting to order at 6:01. Welcome, everyone of Willow Park. Do we have a quorum, Diem?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. And now we're going to have an invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and the Texas Pledge. Pastor Jonathan.
Pray with me. Heavenly Father, your word tells us in Proverbs 11:14, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. Father, your word states that people need guidance through an abundance of counselors. Therefore, we thank you for city council meetings, for those in governing and leadership positions, as well as the opportunity for the people to have a voice. Through both of these, we ask that you would grant wisdom so that Willow Park would find safety in such numbers. Father, you sent your Son among us to proclaim the kingdom of God in cities, towns, villages, and lonely places. Look upon and visit through your Holy Spirit the city of Willow Park. Renew the bonds of charity that uphold our civic life. May our leaders be honest and able in their task. Deliver us from poverty, prejudice, and oppression so that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice along with mercy. May we keep our eyes fixed on your holy city, where those who believe shall know perfect peace and unity, so that we, by your grace and for your glory, begin to live as such here and now. We ask this in the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor
The Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Okay, number one, mayor comments. Tonight, I'm sharing Proverbs 27:1 that reads, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" I have been advised to have attorneys. My attorneys are in the back of the room. Thank you very much. My middle son, Casey, has driven out. Thank you very much, Casey. Appreciate it. Okay, for item 2, I'm sure we're in order here. Okay, item 2, we have a proclamation for the Parker County Brewery Company. Can you come forward? Whereas the city of Willow Park, Texas, is built upon a proud tradition of community, innovation, and local enterprise, continues to shape the spirit and identity of our city. And whereas the last known brewery in Parker County closed its doors in 1879, marking the end of a unique era in local enterprise and community gathering. And whereas Parker County Brewing Company made history in February 2018 by becoming the first brewery operating in Parker County since 1879, and in February 2025 expanded its legacy by opening a new location in Willow Park, bringing a rich tradition of craft brewing and community back to our area. And whereas Parker County Brewery Company embodies the entrepreneurial spirit and dedication that makes Willow Park a vibrant place to live, work, and visit, while creating local jobs, boosting economic activity, attracting visitors, and providing a welcoming space for fellowship and celebration. And whereas this achievement not only celebrates a revival of historic craft, but also marks a significant milestone in the cultural and economic growth of the city of Willow Park. Now, therefore, be proclaimed that I, Teresa Palmer, Mayor of the city of Willow Park, Texas, do hereby recognize and honor Parker County Brewing Company for its historic contribution to our city, and an official copy of this proclamation to be presented to Ryan Stewart in recognition of this significant and historic achievement. And witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused this seal and the city of Willow Park to be affixed the 10th of February 2026.
Good job, Ryan.
There you go. At this time, the council will hear public comments. And I have the sheets for the public comments. Right now, we have 3 of them. The first one is Michael James, 437 Squaw Creek Road. Michael, you step forward. You have 5 minutes. No?
Have y'all driven down Squaw Creek Road lately? You know how bad it is. I hear there's a petition going around for us not to pave that road or concrete it. Have y'all seen that? You have seen it? Okay. I just spent $2,500 on fixing my front end on my truck. This road is a disaster. It's a main artery in town. It should be concrete. They're already putting water pipe in. They've already done the surveying. We need to press forward with this road, okay? Not take anything from anybody else. We pay plenty of money in taxes every year, and we're driving on the road that I gotta fix my truck every 2 years. It's not right. It's not right. That's all I got.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, the second one we have is Bill Green, 224 Vista Drive. Bill?
I did that on purpose right there just to show everybody I am unarmed. I question the placards that are out front for the reason why they're there. I'm the only one that ever conceals carries in here, and I've concealed carry for 45 years. And I tell you, I've never shot anybody. Last time I did that, I was in government service, and that was a long, long time ago. I don't know whether that's a personal affront towards me, because we've never had them up before except for one time, and that was for one individual, so I was told, and that individual came in unarmed that time too. I just wanted to make that statement. I wasn't going to talk today. I thought about something, then I thought of something else that I need to know. In the year 44 BC, a man got killed, and his best friend did the funeral. And the part that stuck with me all the way through high school on having to study this was the statement that he made in there: the evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. That meant something back then. It still means the same thing here. What is the good that men do? In this body here, it's the pledges that you've made to support the city and the people here. If you're a government official, you swear to protect whatever your job is in the government. If you're in the military, you swear to protect the Constitution and the people of the United States of America. We're not that big, but we do have citizenry that needs to be protected. I sometimes wonder whether we're going along the right way there. There's a lot of things that have happened just in the small time that I've been coming to the meetings. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't agree with, but I've never intentionally brought any shame down on anybody for what they're doing, because if they believe that they're doing right and it's wrong, the part that they've done right may not be remembered, but that evil part could be remembered on there. And something is going to happen to anybody with retribution where they go wrong, whether it be in church, whether it be in school, whether it be here, whether it be on the highway or whatever. And that's the fact that there will be a judgment. Now, it could be a civil judgment here, but one thing that you need to remember, and this is where I'm going to step into my pastor mode, someday you're going to stand before Jesus Christ and God at the great white throne and atone for whatever it was that you've done that is wrong. So give that some thought there whenever you're making decisions. Now, you guys and girls, the mayor included there, and the interim city manager, you know, you're here to help out. That's what you were supposed to do. You took an oath. If you're swaying from that oath, get back to it. You've got a citizenry here that would love to back you and back you 100%, but a lot of us can't on a lot of things. Some things have come along, small things, like all of a sudden we being dubbed you people. We didn't have names. We had a councilman's wife stand up and just blast everybody in the audience and made us feel, I don't know what it was I felt, but that you people went throughout the whole office here, the whole building. And jokingly, people would, you know, you could hear them talking when you came in about you people. That was wrong. We're not you people. We had another one happen too. We became another name. We became the Shadow Council, the Shadow City Hall. That went through the city too. More people talked about that than it did everything else. But very rarely do we ever hear us called citizen, or by our name, or resident, or more important than all three of the, or all two of those, is taxpayer. Nobody that works in this building gets paid by you guys or the mayor. Gets paid by the taxpayers. Yeah, they administer it the best way that they think that they need to. I have fault with some of it, but that's the way they did it, and that's the way they did it. So, anyhow, a few things I wanted you to think about there. Start treating us as the people that you've made an oath that you were going to treat us right. And take care of the city first, and then anything else other than that. And I'm going to go back, I'm old, I'm going to go back into the 1950s. And there was a show on the radio before TV. It was called The Shadow. And this will just take a second here. In the very way that he ended every one of them, of his shows, was, what evil lurks in the mind of man Nobody knows, but the shadow knows. We're the shadow. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, next we have Houston Wingard.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate this. Tonight, I'd like to talk about the annexation of the Bill Dean Ranch and the possible litigation. Available documents clearly show that in October of '23, the city of Willow Park had no ETJ authority anywhere south of Interstate 820 and east of New Energy Drive. Less than a year later, the city of Willow Park took action to annex property adjacent to FMLA 87 and Interstate 820. Interstate 20. There are recent reports that the cities of Aledo and Fort Worth are contemplating legal action against the city of Willow Park, specifically questioning the authority by which the city Willow Park achieved this annexation. Speculation concerning when agreements were discussed and affirmed between the city of Willow Park and the neighboring cities should be put to rest. The question city staff should be required to answer immediately is, where is the documentation that the city of Willow Park sequentially acquired and exercised rights to annex continuous property beginning at the southernmost eastern corner of Hunter's Glen and culminating in the proposed Bill Dean development? That documentation is the only evidence that can possibly defend us against current contemplated legal action by the cities of Aledo and Fort Worth. That documented evidence is available. The city council should immediately provide that information to the cities of Aledo and Fort Worth. The Willow Park Council should request, the city councils of Aledo and Fort Worth to take formal and public action clearly stating that the city of Willow Park was and remains blameless with regard to recent annexations. And the Willow Park Council should provide notice that the need to defend us against current contemplated legal action that will result in the city of Willow Park countersuing to recoup expensive legal expenses. Of course, if supporting documentation is not available, the Willow Park City Council should direct the co-city managers to draft letters of apology, 1, to the principals of Bill Dean development, 2, the city of Aledo, and 3, the city of Fort Worth. The Willow Park City Council should approve and contend that these letters by resolution and the mayor should concur by signature. The Willow Park City Council should immediately initiate all necessary action prior to approvals taken prior to having obtained requested authority. And the Willow Park City Council should immediately identify and take action to mitigate and minimize the financial impacts to the city of Willow Park resulting from improper actions in 24 and 25. If other scenarios will result in massive sums of taxpayer dollars being funneled into the coffers of legal law firms. Bottom line is, if we are right, stand up and prove that we are right. By the same token, if we are wrong, then take the necessary steps to put this behind us and for the betterment of the city and the citizens of Willow Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Houston. Okay, up next, we have consent agenda for item 3. We need to approve regular and special city council meeting minutes for November 17th, December 9th, and 16th. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular city council meeting minutes dated November 17th, 2025, December 9th, 2025, and December 16th, 2025.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay. Number 4, discussion and action confidentiality agreement for the governing body per Texas Government Code Section 552.404. This item is related to House Bill 4310, passed in the 89th legislative session. It took effect last year on September 1st. The bill amended the Texas Public Act, Informational Act, and was intended to encourage transparency and accountability while discouraging administrative roadblocks. Andy, do you have any comments to add about this new legislature?
Yes, I was going to give some of the basic principles of the new law, kind of outline the steps of it so that everybody knows. And I did include with my packet the statute that was enacted that is, as you mentioned, is effective September 1st from the last legislative session, and a sample of a confidentiality agreement that would be a part of that statute. So let me just kind of briefly tell you what this does, what this new law does. The law really codifies, makes it by statute enforcing a process that local governmental officials have, mayor, council members of all cities, school districts, counties, when they want to seek information that's held by that governing body or that local government. And so the Attorney General in the past has ruled several times about the inherent right of officials to have that documentation, but there was never a statute that addressed it. So this is the first time the statute is written by the legislature that addresses it. And so what it basically says is if a council member or mayor makes a request for information held by the city, and they made that in their official capacity with their official duties, then this statute applies. If they make the request in their personal capacity, then the Open Record Act applies, and the exceptions and the procedures of that act would apply. So this is only made for requests that are made for information in your official capacity. When that's done, if the information is pure governmental, then those records should be disclosed promptly and without charge. If, on the other hand, the request may implicate a privileged matter, such as attorney-client communication privilege matters, and there's a lot of other privileges as well, then that ought to go to the governing body under the statute to determine how that's going to be handled. I would recommend that be done in executive session because there's privileged matters that's being discussed in that situation. And the governing body, by the statute, can request the requestor, one of the members of the council or the mayor, to sign a confidentiality agreement. And that basically says you won't disclose any of this information to anybody, but you get it because of your right as in your office. And the requestor then can decide to sign the confidentiality or not. Whether the requestor signs the confidentiality agreement, the requestor has a right to an appeal. And the statute provides that appeal can be done to the Texas Attorney General. And from the date the Attorney General gets it, the statute provides that the Attorney General must issue a written opinion within 45 business days to determine whether the information is privileged or not. If the requester is not satisfied with the Attorney General's ruling, they have the right to appeal to a district court in Travis County. And if they prevail, then they are entitled to attorney's fees and costs. So that's the basic outline process that the statute outlines for the request for information to be made in your official capacity.
Okay, so according to the analysis of the Texas Policy Research, the bill encourages timely access to information by members of boards and governing bodies without relying on staff gatekeepers. The bill enhances the practical liberty of elected and appointed officials to operate independently and knowledgeability within the scope of their authority. The Texas Municipal League's opinion on the new law states that it does not authorize the governmental body to require the member to sign a confidentiality agreement before allowing the member to inspect or duplicate the information. A member is entitled to inspect or duplicate the information regardless of whether the member signs the agreement, and that's the Texas Municipal League's opinion. So the special right of access, the agreement is not mandatory under the new law, but it's discretionary. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, got it. Okay, great.
That's why I said they may request it, they can't compel it.
Great, can't compel it. Great, thank you. Okay, is there a motion?
Now, I don't know that there needs to be one because this is the law. I think we're just informing everybody of the new process under the law. So I don't know that it's going to be effective whether the council takes action or not.
Okay, good. So I
think we
clarified
need
in
it.
my meeting and what I understand, right?
Sure.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. Number 5, we will discuss and act upon approving an update city limits map. And Chelsea Kirkland, you're presenting tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
The city has experienced annexation of Dustin Haney, the Beldine Ranch, and East Bankhead Highway. These actions require the city to update the map to accurately reflect the City of Willow Park city limits boundaries. Staff recommends its approval of the city limits update as presented.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Short
So
and sweet.
the city council approved a boundary adjustment agreement with Alito in 2023 for the Haney Tract where Fortified Fitness is located. Do we have boundary adjustment agreements for Bankhead Highway and Beldine Tract?
Yes, each of the ordinances have been called out on the city limits map that was in your packet,
Okay,
top right.
so we have that on there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sarah, is there a motion going forward on the maps?
I'll make a motion to approve the City of Willow Park city limits map as presented.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Gotcha. Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6, thank you, Chelsea. We will discuss and consider action for the Parks Board appointments. Mandy, you're presenting. Okay,
Hello, Mayor and Council. We're trying to appoint for place 1, place 2, place 4 as a reappointment for our 2026 Parks Board. We want to say a sincere thank you to Leah Young, Corey Tucker, and Cynthia White for their years of service for our Parks Board and for the City of Willow Park. Staff recommends the reappointment of Jerry Beerling based on continued service and knowledge. For place 1, Cynthia or Cindy Neverdowski, who was a Parks Board alternate prior to our ordinance being changed, and wishes to continue to serve the city. And place 2 nomination is Jaylee Chick, who wants to support parks of all ages and abilities. The recommendation motion for to appoint the 2026 Parks Board, place 1, 2, and 4 as presented.
okay, so it looks like we received 7 applications from interested residents, and I see we have staff recommendations you just talked about. Do any of the applicants serve on any other boards? And if so, has staff asked if they're giving up their other board seats so we don't have overlap?
So Cindy Neverdowski is on the BOA board, but they can serve on 2.
Okay, so that's overlap. So I would like to recommend Robert Rothrock. I looked at his experience on his application, and David Allen, to give others a chance to serve on these boards instead of having overlap, one person on several. So I would like to recommend that. Nobody likes that idea. Okay. So is there a motion to go forward?
Before we make a motion, do you have the applications? I mean, do we have, what was the consideration of choosing? I mean, I think that'll make it clearer for everybody.
So, well, Jerry was a reappointment. Cindy, like I said, Cindy was previously the alternate, had been approved by council as an alternate for the Parks Board, and then that got changed. And then Corey Tucker decided to step down. So she would have been she would automatically, before the change, would have automatically been
You
in.
have been positioned?
And then Jaylee Chick is a young mother. Just also have another woman on the board, just a different feedback, if you will.
Okay. So it wasn't a matter that Cindy was accepted over anybody else. She was already the previous alternate that stepped into a reposition for a step down from place one?
She's doing place one now.
So she'll be on 2 or not be on 2? Did I misunderstand?
She's still on BOA as far as I know.
So she'll be on 2.
And BOA hasn't met since
A year.
over a
Over a
year.
year.
Okay.
Yeah, a little
So
over.
not taking into account the other 2 at all?
I took into account everybody, but yes, this is my recommendation, or our recommendation.
Okay, I don't have a vote, so is there a motion to go forward with the recommendations like they are?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint the 2026 Parks Board, places 1, 2, and 4 as presented.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, moving on. Okay, item 7, we'll discuss and approve planning and zoning appointments. Okay, here comes Chelsea, you're presenting.
Yes.
Okay,
Planning and Zoning, Place 2 and Place 4 Commissioners are up for new terms, January 2026 to 2028. We've received the following applications for Planning and Zoning, Place 2 and 4. Michael Chandler, Ever Gomez, Catherine Davis, Levi Adler, David Allen, and Robert Randy Rothrock. Staff recommends currently reappointing based on continued knowledge and service.
okay, so I'd like to recommend Levi Adler, Robert Rothrock, and David Allen. I believe it's important to allow new faces onto our boards to bring a fresh, new perspective and include as many residents as possible who want to serve our city. For too many years, we have stacked our boards with the same people on multiple boards, and we weren't focused on advertising these opportunities in the community. We have now done that, so I would like to see some new faces on these boards and not reappoint over and over the same people. Opinions, discussion?
Mayor, which of those did you want to appoint? There's only 2 positions available,
I would like all of them to consider, all of them.
but there's only 2 places. You
Right.
need 3 people.
They can choose.
Oh, I see. Okay,
council.
I understand. You're recommending all 3 for consideration. Understood. Thank you.
Mayor, do you mind rereading your statement?
I would like to recommend, is that where you want me to start?
Your verbiage after the names?
I believe it's important to allow new faces onto our boards to bring a fresh, new perspective and include as many residents as possible who want to serve our city of Willow Park. For too many years, we have stacked our boards with the same people on multiple boards, and we weren't focused on advertising these opportunities in the community. Now that we are, and we're actually taking applications, I would like for the council to consider new opportunities of people who would like to serve on those boards.
Can I get a point of clarification on your verbiage, stack the deck?
You want to, what?
I just want a point of clarity on the verbiage you use, stack the deck. We have people.
I would like the opportunity, since we're taking applications.
I understand that part. I'm just asking you about the stack.
For
the deck.
you, as the council, to consider new opportunities for people who want to serve the city of Willow Park. That's clear. That's it.
I'm
That's
just-
all I want to say.
Understand.
Thank you.
The stack the deck was the,
I'll take that away for you. There you go. Thank you.
I've served with both Ever and Michael in both capacities. I've got great knowledge basis of what has done. I completely understand that there are new people that want to serve.
Yes.
I don't feel that there is if you've got people that are already serving and want to serve, then why change? But that's just my 2 cents.
I have nothing against the ones serving. I'm stating that you have a lot of people that are putting in applications wanting to serve, and I think they should have the opportunity and put before our city council to vote on. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, it was the stack the deck comment that threw me off. It sounded like.
What drew that for you?
Well, I'm just saying, we just sounded like we were padding something, and that's not
Right.
the process of planning and zoning.
Okay, withdrawn for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would state in regards to planning and zoning and the issues of development that are coming up in the next few years, this is the year that I would still lean into experience. Absolutely, still wanting people to get involved, to voice their opinions, but also I think the pivotal growth in Willow Park is now, and this is when I want people that have done this, that know this information and are still willing to serve. I'd be grateful to them to continue to do that. So with that said, and not closing the discussion if there is more, but I'll make a motion to appoint the 2026 Planning and Zoning Commissioners, place 2 and 4, as stated.
And second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Moving on. Thank you. Okay. Item 8. Roy Kerbin, you want to talk on item 8? Judge Roy Kerbin.
Mayor, Council. You may recall previous questions raised on the content of the Bill Dean Developers Agreement that essentially circumvented the responsibility of the Willow Park Planning and Zoning Commission. Has anyone noticed that the very similar language is in the Clarion Development Agreement? Section 5.2. Who has determined that it is in Willow Park's best interest to pre-approve zoning, conceptual plans, and utility improvements that should typically be developed through defined processes? Who has determined that all the pre-approvals established by this development agreement are all consistent with the comprehensive plan and capital improvement plan? That's it.
Okay, I hope the council had time to review the draft agreement. I have concerns about automatic disannexation if zoning approvals don't match the concept plan, and supporting the automatic creation of a municipal utility district. The language bypasses our Planning and Zoning Commission again, just like we did on Belledine Development. So it looks like Gene Martin and Marcy Galley both provided feedback against specific parts of the development agreements that bypass zoning regulations and our P&Z. Was the agreement shared with the members of the P&Z to get their feedback? Does anybody know?
For the development agreement, for what are we discussing? The Clarion Development Agreement, which is in your packet?
Right.
No, it's a development agreement. It's not zoning.
Okay. So the agreement shared with the members, so it got shared with P&Z, right?
You need to go to the P&Z. It's a development agreement.
So it goes past the P&Z?
Yes.
Okay. It does not go to
When the plan development
P&Z?
comes through, then it will go to planning and zoning, because that is zoning.
Okay.
Yes.
So now it does not go to there?
No, it will go there when it comes to the plan development, which is their zoning.
Okay.
Then that will go through Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, so
Yes,
it will?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So this is the development agreement that's actually for the developer to agree to the infrastructure and how their development is going to be planned.
Okay, see, in the past, we've talked about having P&Z discussions with these type of agreements with the council. Is that something the council is interested in doing? No?
First off, Andy, can that even happen? Let's just answer
Yeah.
the first question.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so this is a development agreement. It requires approval by the city council. There's nothing in the law that requires planning and zoning to review it. If the council wants to do that, you can get their input, but that would be a council decision. And what the interim city manager is talking about on zoning, that is required to go through P&Z, and then the council can't act on the zoning request until there's a recommendation from P&Z by law. really two different kind of processes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're ready to vote? Is there a motion?
We do have the developer here if you want them to do their presentation.
Okay, developer, come on up. Introduce yourself again. Introduce yourself once again.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Palmer, Council Brian Holland with Scorberg Development Company, 8214 Westchester Drive in Dallas, Texas. I'm here representing the owner of the property, which is brothers in Christ, Bryson Adams and Kevin Koch. I think you folks know those people. They're local folks. So we're going to be teaming up to do this project together. I want to point that out. This is we'll go into some of the questions and some of the details that have come up and address those. But first, I just want to say this has been a long process. We came before you back in August of last year in 2025, asked you to consider taking this to your attorneys and allowing us to get a development agreement approved. Your staff and the attorneys have worked diligently to get it to where we are today, to have this document in front of you. And they did strip out all of our requests, try to put in some of the development regulations, which when you do involuntary annexation, you try to include that so you know kind of assurance of what you're getting before you bring the project into the city. In lieu of not having that in there and them fighting us to have that in there, which is to your benefit, then that means that we're just going to do a voluntary annexation. And if we don't get our zoning as we bring it back through the process, through P&Z and through y'all, then all we ask is that you let that property go back into the ETJ. It allows us more flexibility. You've got 62 acres there. We'll go through a little bit of that, but I just want to clear that up, that we're not zoning this. We're not locking in any zoning or development regulations. All that's going to come back before the P&Z and the council. So, again, the project, we're naming it Clarion. That's kind of somebody asked me where we got that name. That's kind of a play on the Clarion is the Clear Fork Trinity River. And so it's just kind of they call it a little catchy name. So if I can get this thing to work, then we're good to go. I'm going to talk a little bit about our background very quickly, since we've been before you multiple times, and I think even the citizens have seen us over the last several years. So I won't go into a lot of detail on who we are. Talk a little bit about the project location, the site plan comparison about where we are today versus where we are when we originally started the project, and then just talk about some of the virtues and elements of the project itself. You're not voting on a lot of these things, but again, I'm just refreshing everybody's memory because you are voting on a development agreement that pertains to the project. Scorberg Company, we're a long-standing single-family lot developer. That's all we do. We've been doing it for about 40 years just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Completed 97 projects, over 7,000 lots developed. We put lots on the ground for all the private builders all the way up to the big publics and nationals. This project's leaning more going to be a private builder development because of the value that is being created. So talking a little about the subject property and location, I think everybody's pretty familiar and clear with where this is. This is north of the reserves at Trinity, just to the east of the Clear Fork Trinity River and Crown Road. So Crown Road borders our property on the west and north, and then the golf course to the north, and then our residents at Squaw Creek and Willowwood to our east. One of the just kind of show you this comprehensive land use plan. I showed it to you before, I think, in one of our previous presentations. But the property that we're acquiring and proposing to develop is on the comp plan as medium density residential, which calls for 4 to 6 dwelling units per acre, with appropriate housing, prototypes in there of cottage homes, patio homes, garden homes, and other high quality single family lot development. This is our new site plan. Again, I'll get into the kind of the before and after, but as you can see, we've got about 82.4 gross acres in this project. Of that, 21 acres is open space, which is about 25% of the project. And then you can see kind of a breakdown of our lot mix. And this is a conglomeration of, multiple back and forth with the community, with talking to y'all. We've been to P&Z once when we brought a preliminary plat a little prematurely to the P&Z. So they've seen the project and seen what we're proposing. But this has shifted over the years. And what you're seeing today now is a mixture of really kind of what we call cottage home sites, minimum 5,000 square foot lots. Those are the same size lots as what you saw in the Trinity project to our south. And so we're kind of blending that and moving our way to larger, more luxury home sites as we work our way to the east. And so when we get adjacent to our 1 acre neighbors, we're just a little bit less than half an acre there, which was kind of a discussion we've had over the course of the last couple of years. So our total density is at 2.9 units per acre on the gross, 3.9 units per acre on the net. So if you remember your comp plan, it was between 4 and 6 for this property, for a medium density residential, so we're falling on the low end of that spectrum. So this shows you the kind of a density comparison of where we were when we first submitted this almost 2 years ago. And I don't know if you recall, we were talking at that time about kind of Wally World out here. We want to do a PID and the TERS and kind of all the fun stuff that you see in the developer world these days. And we've stripped all that down, stripped all that out. And so, and part of that is we've also, adjusted our density. And so we've gone from 284 total lots out there to 241. So we've lost about 43 lots, if my public school math is correct. And gone from about a 3.4 DUA, which that's designated units per acre, to 2.9 on the gross. So pretty considerable change over the couple of years. I think it's a much better plan. It's much more conducive. What it does is it allows us to have different product types to meet different segments of the market. And so you're going to see, today it's really tough to get entry-level housing. We're going to be starting in probably the 400s on our cottage lots, and you'll see homes going on up over $1 million as you get up on top of the ridge and what used to be called the Bluff, and that's why this project used to be called the Bluffs, but we changed that name. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the community infrastructure and the mobility plans. Again, I think I've highlighted this in the past, but there's some things I just wanted to point out. Crown Road is to our west and to the north. We have been meeting with the county on multiple occasions. In fact, have a developer agreement in front of them because we want to improve that existing Crown Road bridge. I'm sure you all have driven it before. It's a narrow bridge. We're going to widen it. The county's going to participate by providing the materials, and then we're going to do the labor to widen that bridge. I think it's like a 6-foot widening, 5.5. We're going to put on new guardrails and really spruce that up and make that a much more safer location. The other thing we're going to do is, if you look at that location, at the point it doesn't work, but where Crown Road comes into the extension of Crown Road into our project, we're going to build a new 3-way intersection. It'll be properly signed with stop signs, traffic control devices. And so instead of coming around Crown Road and heading south, and then immediately getting into that S-curve onto the bridge, you'll have some traffic control devices to slow everybody down to stop at that location. You have cross traffic, and so I think that's going to make that a much more safer location. The county's bought into the concept. Now it's just getting them to approve our agreement on who pays for what and how that all comes about. The other thing I wanted to show is that we are matching the street section for JD Tools to our south. It's on Trinity's plan as a 60-foot right-of-way through their project. We're matching that and taking it from our north and south. So we go through our project with a 60-foot, and then we end up at the top and tie into Crown Road. And then the last thing is we've talked about multiple times is limited emergency vehicle access point only on the south side, southeast corner of our project going into the existing neighborhood. And that was something through community discussions that they were concerned about our traffic leaving our subdivision and going through their existing roads and tearing up existing roads. And so the agreement was, if council is so inclined, is to go ahead and put an emergency access gate there. We'll install it, have a Knox box on it so emergency services can enter and exit at their leisure, or at their need, I guess, really. But it'll stay permanently closed and won't have any ingress and egress from our residents. And these are all the kind of things you'll see in the development agreement that's what a development agreement's for, is to handle these kind of items and get us to agree in advance on these items that you don't really get to see if you just do through a PD zoning. One thing we did talk about, we are going to be dedicating about 17 acres of the public park. It is in the floodplain, so I'm just to be transparent and clear. But so is all the rest of that Kingsgate Branch, park that you see up and down that linear park. So this will really be just a future extension of that as that park progresses from north to south. We've agreed with the staff that we'll install about 6,000 foot, so a little over a mile of 10-foot concrete path throughout that section of the park. So when we turn it over and dedicate it, that'll all be completed. We'll also be doing a dirt track next to it. I think, is that right, Tony, for the mountain bike? I know there's a big mountain bike club here in town, and so we'll do that adjacent to that. And then staff was able to twist my arm and get us to do a restroom facility for the public down there. So we'll have water and sewer and an indoor restroom facility. It won't have air conditioning. It'll just be one of those park-type facilities that you see. And we'll also have a parking location off of that cul-de-sac to the far southwest of our property there. So as residents want to come and park and get on the trailhead at that location, they can do that. Just some representative photos of the homes that we're anticipating. We do have 3 builders signed up on this project. One of them is our home building company. We have a sister home building company called Windsor Homes. They build a high-quality single-family home in a lot of the higher-end markets that would be comparable to Willow Park and the Aledo ISD. The other thing we talked about is, and I think I shared this with you last time, is we're kind of looking to try to make this unique where you can do kind of a community within a community. And so we're calling the upper area on the bluffs the Heights at Clarion, and that's where you have your larger home sites. You've got those 20,000 square foot plus or minus home sites. You've got larger ones coming in that are like 80 by, I don't know, 150, 145, something like that, and then you up to the big ones on the bluff. And so we'll monument that a little bit differently and actually call it out as a special kind of unique little project within the project and give it a little bit of exclusivity. Nice. So there's confusion, I understand that, by everybody on what you're voting on tonight. So this slide I thought was kind of appropriate is you are voting on a binding development agreement which locks in our obligations for infrastructure, the dedication of the park, and then the park standards, and the infrastructure that we'll be putting in and where we're putting it in and what size. You know, the city has got us oversizing some water line. There's no reimbursement on that. So, you know, so just various things that go into these agreements that we negotiate back and forth and get and agree upon. It also locks in city obligations to provide service. If we voluntarily annex into the city, then we need water and sewer, and so that provides that the city will do that. It also has extending your CCN extension. It's kind of the same thing, but you've got to extend your CCN to be able to provide service to the property. And then authorization to proceed with voluntary annexation. So this is the first step in what will be a multi-step process, and unfortunately, that just takes time. This is a petition to voluntarily annex the property into the city limits. And then we will come back. I'm trying to figure out that date. Andy, you may know, but it's within the 30-day window, I believe, to come back to council and try. And then that petition for annexation will actually be accepted if that's something y'all want to do. And then once that's done, then we'll go to the zoning. We'll go to P&Z and we'll go to council for the zoning. And then if that zoning is not approved, yes, then we would request that the annex in this document, the property gets de-annexed. Okay. Now, what you're not voting on tonight, you're not voting on final zoning. You're not voting on the PD. You're not voting on any of the land use categories. There is a concept plan attached, and we've been very transparent. I think it's been on your website for the last year. You know, we've been sharing it with the public. So we're hopeful that that's a concept plan you all can get behind and support, and the P&Z can get behind and support, because we have made quite a few strides to get it where we think it's acceptable to the community. You're not approving the final plat or the preliminary plat. That's, again, another process even beyond the annexation, beyond the zoning. You go to the final plat and the preliminary plat. So there's multiple steps in these processes. And you're not committing any city funds. That's probably the most important thing I want to point out, is this development agreement does not have any city incentives. There's no cost to the city. The project is entirely self-sufficient and does not require any participation or incentives on your part. So I think that was important to some of the citizens that I've heard in the past. We've talked to that. I've talked to Marcy and some of the others. Is making sure that we don't have any asks. Our handout is not there. We're going to let this thing stand on its own and let the market carry it. So a couple things I just want to point out. The summary of kind of what we see as the key benefits of the project. We are voluntarily annexing approximately 62 acres in this project. It's in the ETJ. So once we do that and we go through the zoning process, we're giving the city the regulations over the top of that 62 acres that you don't currently have. Without hitting you over the head with it, it's no surprise the legislature is trying to limit the amount of authority and the ability for cities to regulate what developers like I can do. We're taking that away and we're saying, okay, we're going to bring this in, but and give you that authority, but we have to have a few things ourselves. We got to make sure that we know what our concept plan where it looks like. So that's the voluntary annexation. If we can't get that, then we just need to be able to get back out. So improved traffic circulation and safety. We talked about that. Dedication of the park, the parkland with trails, parking, and the restroom facility. A diverse housing type and price points consistent with the comp plan. And then all public infrastructure funded and constructed by the developer, then dedicated to the city with no city incentives. Projected long-term increase in city property tax revenue from new residential development. Conservatively at build-out, I think this project will contribute about a little over $700,000 to the city coffers on an annual basis. So it's not an insignificant amount of funds that are becoming towards the city when you have it full build-out. And then through the PD process, we've already submitted that to the staff. We're waiting for comments. Enhanced architectural, landscaping, and open space standards. So you'll see that on the next round of documents that come through after we get to P&Z. Then we'll bring that to, hopefully, they're supportive. We then bring that to y'all. But you'll see the enhanced architectural, landscaping, and open space standards beyond what our neighbors have done to the south or other, I think, projects that have come through recently for approval. And then mandatory professionally managed HOA. Every project we do is managed by a professional homeowners association that's in place throughout at least our tenure as the developer, as the declarant, until the last lot is sold. And generally, with this number of housing units, it's too big to self-manage, and so you generally will always have a professional HOA managing that project. I'll just leave it on this site. Happy to answer any questions and would look for, hopefully, for your support.
Questions?
Mayor and council, may I also add that they're also agreed to extend our utility line across to the creek so that once that happens, that we can loop our system, which is very advantageous to us, and it adds, I think, 600 feet of line that we won't have to put in. So that was a big ask that they agreed to do. And then the other thing also is that they did agree to create the streets wide enough so that we can continue the bike lane. And that's important as far as our pedestrian access throughout the neighborhood, from the neighborhoods to the south, of us trying to be more cognizant of bicycling and health outside and safety for our residents to be bicycling through these areas.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. The motion to approve the development agreement for the proposed approximate 82.37 acres situated in the McCarver Survey, Abstract 910, the W. Franklin Survey, Abstract number 468, the M.M. Edwards Survey, Abstract 1955, and the J.B. Wynn Survey, Abstract 1637, a portion being within the extraterritorial jurisdiction and remainder within the city limits of the city of Willow Park, Texas, or Willow Park, Parker County, Texas.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? There you go.
Thank you all. Look forward to
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, discussion action to consider approval of Willow Park Public Safety Building lease with Parker County ESD 1. Tony, I requested this item and appreciate you taking care of this for us.
Yes, ma'am. On January 9th, 2024, the Parker County Emergency Services District Number 1 and the City of Willow Park entered into a 24-month lease agreement for the fire station portion of the Willow Park Public Safety Building. Since the leasee's formal notification of request and extension of the lease was received after the option period, staff have created a new lease with the new start date of February 1st, 2026 to expire January 31st, 2028 with the same extension clause. Portion of that building was not being used by PCESD1, totaling approximately 1,060 square feet, and has been deducted from the lease space at a reduced rent rate shown. The extended rate shown on the original lease will be collected for 2026. Staff recommends approval.
So the price per square foot you were talking about on
It was
this lease?
about $12 a square foot.
And how does that compare with fair market right now?
For what we had before with them, I don't know as far as lease space for a fire station,
Okay, so the fair market value, we don't know?
not for a fire station, no ma'am.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion for approval of the Willow Park Public Safety Building lease with Parker County ESD 1 as presented.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Number 10, discussion action to consider approval of a resolution to participate in a state grant for rifle and body armor for Willow Park Police Department. Chief Lacey is ready to go.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. Tonight, we're asking that you approve a resolution to be added to a Texas State grant through the Office of the Governor. This grant is for rifle protection armor. It's a 100% grant from the state, meaning we have no matching funds. But if you want to look at it, it'll cost us nothing if it's awarded. This came about from the July 7th, 2016 murder of 5 police officers in Dallas and 9 people being injured in the shooting that happened there. The following year, the legislators of our great state realized that we do not typically have rifle protection armor. The body armor we normally wear only protects us from handguns. So they, in 2017, started a grant. And of course, we all understand every 2 years the legislature does it again. I do not see that, I know that Willow Park never received any grant for that. I don't find that they've even applied. So I took it on myself after speaking with our senior staff to apply for this. It's a very tedious, the grants are very tedious to do. The time constraint, actually, I have about 50 hours left to get this done. So in the last week and a half, myself and an assistant police chief that's retired, that's a very close friend of mine for the last 35 years, Ken Myers, who helps do these and wrote millions and millions of dollars worth for Allen, has assisted me in tweaking our application. We're asking the state to fund $61,000 to provide all of our sworn positions with new armor, which would include rifle panels. If awarded, then that will offer us the ability to put every officer that we would have in Willow Park in armor that can have the rifle panels, and the panels would be furnished. The difficulty will be that this year, because we're now 10 years into the shooting, it's only funded for $3 million for the entire state. So we did put in the very start of our verbiage that the city of Willow Park has not ever received this, has not ever had this, and that we don't currently, we have to certify that we don't currently provide it, and we don't. So my hope is that the state auditor or the state team that does this and Governor Abbott's office will take kindness upon us and award us $61,000. We will not know if we receive it until around the middle of September. But if I don't have the grant turned in by midday on the 12th, and we're actually trying to submit it tomorrow, then we don't have an option at it at all. So this is the final step that I can't do. I must have a resolution that states that the governing body is willing to participate in that and that they understand it's a 100% program from the state. So we won't be on the hook for any costs. I may have a few more gray hairs, but that's about it.
That sounds very important. Thank you,
It
Chief.
is. It's very important. I've done this grant in my prior cities and furnished my officers with it, and it's very appreciative to them. This armor would also be their, we're doing it as a combined package, so it would be their brand new soft armor along with the rifle armor that goes in it. So in essence, all of the officers would have all updated protection. And for me, it's whatever my staff needs to keep them safe and up to speed as far as their education is what I want to do. This would be a very important thing. But $61,000 is a lot, even for our city if we were going to budget that. So
Right.
I'm more than happy to see if I can convince Governor Abbott to help us out with that.
Thank you.
Chief, is that plates or are they actually getting vests? Like what's?
Well, it's plates that will go in a carrier.
Okay.
But the soft armor also fits into that carrier. So they would have their soft armor on, and then the plate goes in a panel that's in that. So you could wear and it's a front plate and a back plate, and it has to be NIJ certified to a level 4 or higher. Obviously, the suppliers that provide me with equipment, which I've dealt with for the last 37 or plus years is in command positions, has all of those standards, and I wouldn't buy anything less than that. We're actually buying, if purchased, we don't have to specify the brand, but we would be purchasing from a name brand company. It's made in the United States. I'm not buying from the overseas stuff that says they're certified. But we have to verify that it is those standards. And I know that this company that I got the price from. And then we added a few $100s because obviously we don't get the money now. The money would come in basically in the new year, the new budget year, and prices would probably go up on it. So we've tried to adjust it. We don't want to go too high because if I do, then you sort of put yourself out of the market. So this would easily provide our officers with very great protection. And the last thing I want to do is have to go to another officer's funeral. I've done enough of this.
Any other questions? Okay, so is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-19, rifle-resistant body armor resolution as presented by Chief Lacy.
I second. Second. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Okay, so we're on to item number 11. There's a Jamie Mitchell, no address, so you don't live in Willow Park. Jamie Mitchell? Is that right?
There's no fire address.
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead.
So, discussion 11 is talking about the westward extension of East Bankhead Highway. And I just wanted to bring some things to light based on my experience living. I own a 53-acre piece of property right there at the bottom of the hill west of the cul-de-sac where Bankhead Highway meets. There used to be a bridge in place down there. The bridge was abandoned by the state. Both sides of the river are still open as a state highway, but the actual bridge itself was abandoned. Some of the things that I've dealt with down there are illegal dumping, where the road is currently a cul-de-sac. I've personally gone down there. That's actually not my property, and I've cleaned it up multiple times. Right now, there's still 2 piles down there itself. And then across the river, we have people who still think it's an active map route that will drive down, get stuck on the property, and I'll find a 16-year-old girl frazzled and lost that I've got to pull out about once a month, once every other month, including Amazon drivers. Amazon drivers are probably the worst.
Oops.
But just to show a little support, just to have the conversation about this, on the south side of the interstate, there's really no 2-lane direction. And I don't know how many hands have seen people pulled over going the wrong way on the frontage road because East and West Bankhead come to a point, and then there's a bridge, or there was a bridge, now it's frontage road, holding the 2 apart. So I've seen people pulled over for going the wrong way there too. But if this does come to fruition, I know the county has already been bonded in order to build the bridge. If the city actually comes together with a road on them, have further discussions on it, it'll alleviate a lot of the pressure from the north side of the interstate and actually allow 2-way communication of that traffic from 1187 all the way out to Weatherford. So as we all know right now, driving back and forth through town, I-20 is not fun. And for everyone who does live here, for everyone who does have property, who does have businesses, getting stuck in that traffic. I had to run to Fort Worth this afternoon just to be back to this meeting in time, and it took me 45 minutes to get from Fort Worth to here. Now, this road, this bridge doesn't absolutely alleviate that strain, but it sure would help in the total congestion. If you look at Weatherford, there's one choke point everyone knows about. It's one single exit. There's absolutely no reason for that choke point to be happening, but it's because they have nowhere else. So just wanted to say thanks for even talking about this.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, so item 11 is listed for discussion and possible action of certificates of obligation for westward extension of East Bankhead Highway. The council discussed this extension last year at our September 23rd meeting after we received a letter of intent from the property owner, Ryder Scott. This extension is from Clear Fork of the Trinity River to East Bankhead Drive south of I-20 to promote an east-west corridor. Extending this roadway with a new bridge was included in our 2023 Parker County Transportation Bond Funding. The amount allocated for this project is $5.8 million and is supposed to be much further along in the process than it is. Eric, do you want to talk about this item?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. What I wanted to do is start reinvigorating the discussion again of this to see what the council, mayor, and the citizens thought of taking out a certificate of obligation for this. We did a certificate of obligation for Squaw Creek. I think we're going to get an update on that, about where that is on the next agenda item. But I just wanted to kind of hear from the citizens of what their thoughts were on that, or if we need to take it to a vote, and I guess it would have to be November. So just really curious to hear what the people have to say.
Are you talking about the Bankhead
Yes,
extension?
absolutely.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on that?
There's one. Mayor, there's Gene.
Gene?
Mr. Contreras said the CO, but how big of a magnitude are you thinking about?
Well, we would have to get the numbers, but this is just to have a discussion if we needed to pursue that or not pursue that.
I don't know how we can have an opinion about
Do,
whether the thing is a good idea if we don't know how big the thing it is.
well, do people think having a road there would be good or not good? And we'll start working on the numbers, but if the overall opinion is we shouldn't do it, then why should we waste staff time and money doing that?
So extending the Bankhead Highway has been on our future thoroughfare plan for at least 10 years. This extension will allow commercial and retail development with a much-needed east-west corridor south of I-20 for our residents. So I would think most residents would be in favor of that, unless we hear different. Houston?
Well, I guess what I'd like to say is whether it's a certificate of obligation or we take it to the voters to vote on, either way, it needs to happen. In my opinion, I think it's absolutely the right thing to go do. Whether it's a certificate or take it to the voters and let us vote on it, one way or the other. Absolutely press forward, whatever that is.
Got another comment? Oh, Bill?
You really can't take this small amount of people making that decision on something that I have just personally heard of. And like Houston said, how much is it going to cost? You know, you can't make a good decision otherwise until you know those facts.
Joe, you had something, and then Jamie?
We have roads that we can't maintain currently, so why would we build more roads when we can't build potholes? I mean, you could lose a car in the potholes.
Jamie?
Could you maybe read what the 2023 certificate was? Because that has previously approved dollars that were associated with this. And then also the county was looking at almost triple of the investment that the city was.
So, Mr. Ryder might have more detail on that. Mr. Scott?
2023 bond
Mm-hmm.
for the county for, I might have $5 bond package.
Would you mind coming up to the microphone? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
So speaking to the question of county obligations, included in it.
Get closer into the mic, I'm sorry.
In 2023,
Yes.
which included multiple projects other than the bridge. The bridge itself is 5.1 in their bond package, and it was for a total amount of $3.8 million. Those bonds have been issued. Funds are available. The county has, in fact, through fees and nickels with their other projects, contracted for the architecture of the bridge. According to the commissioner, they have stopped that pending whether or not the city moves forward, because if they have a bridge, it would be a bridge to nowhere. To the question about the cost, at the same meeting, Madam Mayor, that you were discussing in September, your engineering firm, Jacobs and Morton, provided for you a worksheet that gave several estimates. So they range from the low, based on a 24-foot curb-to-curb concrete, from 2.1 million. That does not include the owner's estimate of about 20% other non-construction costs, up to a 36-foot back of curb, which is about, I believe it's about 3.4. Those documents are available. They're in the council minutes from that particular meeting, and so they are available for review and to put the parameters in place for council to look at. 3.5 on the 36-foot and 2.1 on the other one. So those provide you your parameters. It was long time thought that you would look at Bankhead in this area as a phased project, and you started at 2 lanes, and as the traffic count grew, there'd be sufficient right-of-way to accommodate 4 lanes. How the city finishes that out, Derek Turner provided curb and gutter drop inlets, storm, for about 2/3 of the project. That's something to consider. And the outside of that budget is water and sewer lines. They currently exist just to the east of the bridge that's no longer there. So that gives you some monetary parameters to look at.
Any questions for Mr. Scott?
Is that property currently within our city limits? There's that ETJ?
Part of it is, part of it isn't. The letter of intent that you received from the property owner indicated that we would, in fact, voluntarily annex, you've heard that term tonight, based on an agreement, so we would convey the balance of the right-of-way necessary. The right-of-way for this road's about, looking at some of Derek's estimates this evening, it was about 4,605 feet, linear feet. He also does the square yards of concrete, does curb and gutter, and so you've got those estimates. Long answer to your short question. If you approve the letter of intent, we'll go down the road of conveying the property to the city.
Okay. Thank you.
We have another.
Just for clarification, I understand, just looking at the map, are we talking about the bridge all the way to connect with East Bankhead, or is it just to connect back into the frontage road? There's a pretty significant gap even after you cross the bridge to the point, road to nowhere. Is this all encompassing that to get to Bankhead, or are we just circling back into the frontage?
So, excellent question. So you have on the western side of Bankhead, you have Bankhead terminating at acute angle about 45 degrees from the access road, which TxDOT considers to be highly problematic and dangerous. You have to kind of turn all the way around to see if there's any traffic. And there, at that point, there is a partial asphalt road that leads down to where the bridge used to be. That bridge, as Mr. Mitchell indicated, is no longer there. It's on his property further to the north. There's a gap over the Clear Fork of the Trinity at that point. Once you cover that gap, he referenced the cul-de-sac as a board. It's on the eastern side. If you were just beyond that cul-de-sac, you asked about getting back to the intersection. There's an access penetration road at that point. This project, as proposed, would take the 45-degree angle road, and essentially you would remove this piece and it would go straight across the bridge, across the Clear Fork, connect to the cul-de-sac, so that you would have an east-west transportation corridor or backing road, if you would, much like this on the north side with the development.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Scott? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yep.
I just got one question. If this has been addressed before, why is it taking so long to come to a head? And the other thing is, my thought is, no matter how we look at, this guy's a citizen, he's come with a problem. We should, if we come with a problem, it should be heard and acted upon in a timely manner. Are we within a timely manner? How many years has this been? Can I ask him? Approximately?
Mr. Scott's been there longer than I have.
Just approximate.
Connecting back here, so the road was actually authorized in 1990.
Before you were.
A while back. Wow. Okay.
Interstate all-weather road in America. Back in State Highway number 1, Texas Department of Highways had to be created to get the money from the federal government to build back. And then along came this thing called the interstate. The interstate gobbled up the split bank. That's the issue that's there. So technically, it's been there since the interstate created the divergence in the road that should have been there on. We're trying to address that problem.
Well, my thought here is to find a resolution, but in order to resolution to, and it should be voted on by the public, I'm just gonna state that, but we have to have some numbers before. We just can't keep putting it off, and I'm not saying that you have, but it seems like for me to understand it, that within 9 months, 6 months, whatever, we should formulate what it's gonna cost, so everybody knows on the same ground, we're all level, and where the city stands in this. It sounds like the city has addressed part of it, it looks like there's a certificate of money that's available or put aside, is that correct?
I think that's part of the discussion tonight, is to figure out what is the public's interest, what's the taste, what are the avenues that we use to pursue this if we choose to pursue it. And I think that is where we're trying to figure out, as Councilman Contreras asked, and it's not to be decided in this room, as you stated as well. This is just the forum and the opening process of this, but to hear everyone's opinion on it. As we'll move on to Squaw Creek, we had ideas there. Other things came up. We want to hear on this one as well before there's any further monetary value that's doled out towards a project. If there is no public desire for this, why continue to pursue that as well? So I think we need to figure out what is the public's, our residents' desire for this project to move forward, and then seek to give you all good options as to how we fund it. And obviously also not fund projects that are outside our city limits. So to continue to look to bring that in through annexation and begin those processes as well, because we have our own streets that we need to just obviously attend to before we start anything that's still considered ETJ or anything like that doesn't yield benefits to our citizens and taxpayers.
So our next step is go forward and find out the amounts that we're even talking about? Is that where y'all want to go? Is it
Mayor, I
council?
think you already authorized Jacob and Martin to do a study, did you not? Isn't that what Derek Turner from Jacob and Martin came to?
He did.
deliver? I don't have that information, I apologize.
Yeah, I don't have that
wasn't prepared
either.
for numbers, but I believe he did say how much it would be for that project versus Squaw Creek project, and then a combination. And I don't remember, I'd be misquoting how much those numbers were, but I can try to go grab them really quickly if I can find it.
Gene, do you have those numbers? Oh, you're waving?
Come on, Gene.
Nobody's mentioned, I don't think, is if we, and I think the idea to have a road that divides east-west traffic, a circulation path on the south side of the interstate is excellent. What is the planned use of the land along that road? Is it going to be potential retail, commercial? That would be excellent.
Our process is that whenever it annexes into the city, it automatically comes in as a residential R1, which is 40,000 square feet. Well, there's no intent because it's just in our ETJ, so we can't zone in ETJ, so we don't have any intent on what it would be. So it would come in as R1 and then it would be rezoned.
When was the last time you actually contemplated annexing something in as R1 as demonstrated by the Clarion development agreement?
What was your question? I apologize.
When was the last time we actually contemplated annexing property as R1 without some kind of pre-approval of other planned development zoning?
Based on what you're requesting as far as Bankhead, I would say it's probably best used as commercial. So,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't actually know this. Is this, I know it's on our future thoroughfare plan. Is it actually on the CIP with the dollar figure that's been on there for a long time? That I do not know.
no, ma'am.
That's not on our CIP?
The extension of Bankhead?
Yes.
Not that I don't believe so. I don't believe so. We are, however, remember redoing our comprehensive plan and our capital improvement plan currently. So we've just started on that process. So, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're talking about checking with the residents, and are we ready to take a motion or just keep talking about it?
I'd like to I'd like to continue the discussion on this one. I think there's no action tonight, but I'd like to continue the discussion and see what we can do as far as integrating the what Mr. Scott had said as far as his intent letter, and to see how we can incorporate that with potential funding mechanisms to move forward with this project.
So our attorneys have received a letter of intent twice from me. Do you have an opinion on the letter of intent that you've received? From,
Like, opinion, like, what do you mean?
well, he submitted his letter of intent, and then you didn't see that, and then I forwarded it to you
Yeah,
from him.
I haven't studied it, so I couldn't
Okay.
tell you yay or nay, or if you're asking for my recommendations.
You haven't looked at it.
I couldn't tell you what those would be.
Okay, so we're going to put this on another agenda item to go back after you're able to look at that. Sure. And we'll discuss it some more. So we're not going to address this tonight, correct?
Correct.
We're done? Okay, going on to 12. Okay, on item number 12, we have a request for, Scott Guerin wants to talk.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for your time and your consideration. Trying to process how some of this is unfolding tonight. It's an interesting theater. So, Mayor ran on streets. Understandably, there was things that were not done to satisfaction. Some of the streets that were run on were Kingsgate, Squaw Creek, can't remember whatever. I live on Squaw Creek, so I'm going to tell you that. They were moving forward with the street project. I think we signed a CO for 10.8 million. I don't know what the exact number was, but we signed that. And some of the current city council candidates, Marcy namely, said she was going to get petitions, which I want everybody to understand that is constitutionally protected activity. That is absolutely First Amendment protected. I'm all for it. But the downstream consequences of doing that are tethered to it. So it's my understanding that a petition got dropped off today, this morning, whenever, with possibly the correct amount of signatures to put Squaw Creek on the ballot. But it's also my understanding that that was turned in too late to make it on this agenda, so you can't vote on it. So now it can't go on the May ballot, which conceivably would force it to go on a November ballot, but that would have to come from the next city council. So the downstream consequences of the petitioning, which I'm going to remind you is constitutionally protected actions, are that we now have kind of pulled a bond out, for a CO out, that we're not going to be able to use. And from talking to a number of people, the number I'm hearing that it's going to cost the taxpayers is around $400,000. So I need to know, A, how are we going to recover this money that you've just now ended Squaw Creek, that we're now financially committed to surveys, road grading, all the contractual stuff that got us to where we were going to move forward, and now we got to kill this thing off. So it'd be super nice for somebody to tell me what the number is, where that's coming from, and since everybody that lives on Squaw Creek, because we were trying to do this with the full transparency and at the behest of the mayor's previous angst for not being fully communicative with people on Kingsgate and other, they came to our homes and talked to us about the end of our driveways. I took a half day off of work and drove home to do that. So my question formally, this is not rhetorically, somebody needs to give me an answer. Is there going to be some sort of duplicate effort to notify everybody on Squaw Creek now that this is not moving forward? It's my understanding.
So Scott, it's your comment time. It's not question and answer time.
That's fine. Don't answer it then, ma'am.
We'll have our attorney discuss
That's fine.
it, right?
My comments are that I think this is going to go by a lot of people, and we spent all this time and energy notifying people that it was going down. I want to know if they're going to spend the same money and effort to try to notify everybody that it's not going now, because it's my understanding that the Squaw Creek Road deal is now dead. It has been killed off because it cannot go on the May ballot. I need everybody to understand the 3 sitting city council candidates were actively involved in this. I want them to understand that this is borderline fiscally illiterate, and I don't know of a city that would want them on a city council for doing this. $400,000 is 22% of our annual tax budget. So are you guys going to raise taxes to cover this? Who's paying for this?
I think we should be nice when we reference each other.
I didn't realize I wasn't, ma'am.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
I'm trying to understand how we burnt up $400,000 in people's our taxpayers' money. So I have First Amendment constitutionally protected speech rights here. I want to assert those. I want you to understand that.
I know, go right
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. So I want to know what's going to happen moving forward with Squaw Creek, and I want everybody to understand this is constitutionally protected activity, but the consequences of it are real. And so I think the orchestrated part of this that's interesting is that we've now killed off Squaw Creek, and now we want to go through with Bankhead, and apparently somebody's best friend owns the land that Marcy Galley knows, and we're now pushing through with Bankhead. So my question to you, or rhetorically apparently, will this land that we punched through Bankhead, will it go up or down in value? And we've spent all this time deriding the previous mayor and city manager for all the dirty land deals. This right here is shady. So for being in office this short, y'all are on the express lane of shady.
Thank you very much. Scott Karen. Okay, Andy, would you like to address this now?
Well, we have our bond counsel and financial advisors here as well, if you want to have a full
want them to
discussion of
talk?
them. I think that'd be fine,
Okay,
unless there's anybody else comments or whatever.
so the bond council, you want them to talk and then you'll talk?
Sure.
I believe
Okay,
that's fine.
thank you. Let's have y'all come forward.
They're here specifically for this.
Perfect. Introduce yourself and educate us, please.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, Eric Maha with Hilltop. I know I was out here a few months ago when we started the CO process, and Ms. Kristen Savant with North Rose Fulbright, bond counsel to the city. In light of the petition that we were notified the city received yesterday, the action on the CO cannot occur tonight. So we were lined up to price the certificates this morning. We had the underwriters and investors and everything lined up to handle that pricing this morning. We put that on hold. So we do not have that pricing for the council this evening. We've been in discussion with general counsel and then obviously with bond counsel. I know there are probably 2 options. I don't know if Kristen may want to mention those 2 options that the council has tonight, but we do not have numbers or pricing to approve this evening in light of the petition. So I wanted to make that clear. Be happy to answer any questions on the financials. We don't have any, so if there are any questions on that side, I'd be happy to answer those.
So no numbers?
No, ma'am. The pricing cannot occur in light of the petition.
Okay, so Andy, we
Well,
have
if
a
Kristen
question?
bond counsel probably needs to weigh in.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Good evening. Again, I'm Kristen Savant,
Yes.
Norton Rose Fulbright. And so in light of the petition, of course, we had talked yesterday whether the validity of it or the invalidity is going to be questioned. If that's the case, you could always table this action item until a date certain, preserve the posting and publication of the certificate of obligation. But if that's not a choice that you would, consider, then the certificates can't be issued without an election. So that's really the end result. Of course, for the May election, the deadline is this Friday. So there's not time, of course, to post the agenda and be able to do that. So calling the election is not on the table right now, but for this evening, it would be either, to table it if you want to consider again the validity of the petition. And again, if not, then the certificates just at this point cannot move forward. And so that was the reason that we pulled pricing for today, just in light of the petition qualities.
So the petition's valid or not valid?
That would be up for the city secretary and the
We
attorney.
have not had time to review the petition. We just received it yesterday in the morning. I was involved in meetings all afternoon, a lot with the legal counsel and these people here. Also, we determined that it was a copy of the petition. It was not the original document, so therefore I had to call Ms. Galley and get the original document per the city attorney's advice. So we did that this morning. So I've, again, been in meetings all day preparing for this meeting tonight, and we have not had time to even look at the validity of the petition in question. So it takes a few days, sometimes weeks, to verify everything on the petition.
So it sounds like from what you're saying, it'll be November because we're, like you said, you have to have it by Friday to have on the May ballot?
It would have to be done before 5 p.m. on Friday per the county election judge, or election administrator, I'm sorry. Yes.
Right. So not enough time to post.
Not enough time.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? Was it turned in on time? Was the petition turned in on time?
I don't know what that timeline is. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So it depends on how you interpret the statute, but no matter how you interpret it, it can't move forward. So tonight, the council's choices could be you deny it and you start, if it's going to go forward again, it has to start over again, including the petition process, or it's tabled to study the petition to determine the validity of the petition on its face. It does appear that there's sufficient signatures, but doesn't mean it's a valid petition.
I understand. My only question was, what was the deadline and did the petitioner meet that?
Yeah.
They did?
It depends on how you interpret the statute, and it can be interpreted two ways. I understand. Yes, involving a disjunctive statute as opposed to conjunctive, and how you interpret it. So you can interpret it that it's too late. You can interpret that it's on time. And no matter what, the end result is it can't go forward. The CO cannot go forward in its present state. So the end result is the same.
So can we change that so we know what the interpretation is that the city's going to take a stance at?
No, it's up to the legislature to do that.
So we're not making a motion tonight because of where we stand?
No, it can't go forward. So I would say if the council wants to consider denying it, that's probably superfluous, but it would be effective and would start the period over again. If the council wants to table it, to really study the petition, I don't know that that's going to matter, but the same end result, either way. So it's a lot of maybe action that has not a lot of effect.
Clear as mud for me, I'm sorry. So it is, we don't know if it's valid or not valid. We have to take time. So the council can vote that we'll table it until Dina validates it?
An end date, which would be.
And it'll be for November anyway, right?
Right, it cannot go on the May ballot.
Potentially.
Okay.
Potentially.
So what do you have, an A and B choice, or what do we do?
To me, the three choices to me are take no action, deny it, or table it. That's how I see it. Do y'all have any other quick?
And your suggestion
I would
and your
agree.
vote?
Yeah, I would agree that, Well, it's your policy decision whether or not you want to consider the validity of the petition. If that were the case, then you would table it tonight until a date certain, like to city council, to give enough time for that validation process to go forward. Or second, just decide not to move forward with the certificates and consider it for an election at a later time, again, because you're not able to meet the May election. But for this evening, it's really just table it or just not take action on it because there's nothing before you to approve. There's no ordinance because we didn't price today. So there's really nothing to move forward with. So it's
Okay.
really just whether you want to table it for the validity issue, I think is really the question.
That cannot be approved. By
It cannot
law.
be, there's
Legally, it
nothing
cannot
to
be
approve.
approved.
Right, there's
So-
nothing to approve.
So we're not going to make a motion to table it.
That's a policy issue.
Andy, I have a question. When you say deny it and start the clock over, what does that mean?
It means that this process is done, and if the council wants to consider a CO for the same project, you would start that process over again. And if the petition process wants to start, it would be on that action. It would- Does that make sense?
A different petition, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be as if this didn't happen.
Ms. Savant, do we know if we have to go through a rate call again if we do that? Do you know, Mr. Maha, if we have to go through a rate call again if we do that?
Yeah, you would.
As part of the process, we did do a bond rating call. The city's bond rating was affirmed AA, congratulations. But they'll hold that rating for so long, depending on the timing, we may have to go back to the rating process. But they'll hold it for, I would say, 6 weeks and then become stale. So we might have to have an update call, if you will. But it would depend on the timing.
And that cost, is it like, I believe I've heard in the past, it's like between $20,000 and $40,000?
Yes, sir. The city's rated by Standard & Poor's. The cost for this particular rating, it's tied to the bond or the certificate size. It was $21,400. So that would be a cost. That's the only incurred cost on the financing side. I know there's maybe some other costs, but on the financing side, it would be $21,000.
So what's our date? You said it's an expiration date on that AA?
It's not a hard date.
No?
It's just a conversation we'd have to have with the rating agencies, depending on the new timing. If the deal is not going forward in the near future, we'd have to talk about the city making that payment to the rating agency.
Okay.
Does the action or lack of action going out for the call, is this similar to when you run your credit too many times, it gives a negative effect?
Well, that
on
was
the
part of the
city's-
discussion yesterday. We elected not to price the bonds or the certificates this morning for that very reason. You don't want to price securities and then not get them approved. That would, spook investors, if you will.
Right.
So since we did not price this morning, the underwriters are on standby, they understand, and they'd be ready if the city wanted to move forward in the future. But no orders were taken on the certificates, so that wouldn't be a concerning situation.
Good deal. Thank you.
So right now, we can take a vote to make a motion to table it.
You could.
And then if they don't have an all in favor or a majority, then we vote to start all over again? Those are the two?
No?
No?
Mayor Palmer, excuse me, I believe there was a question before about how much, one of the council members had asked how much we had spent on this project thus far.
Right.
And so we have spent $350,000 on engineering, plus the $21,000 for the rate call.
And that stays, we have to start that again, you're saying?
The engineering would stay the same, it would just be shelved for if that project ever came back up, but it was money expended.
Okay.
And the $21,000 will not be recouped.
So the 350 will be held because we already
If that
paid.
project, yes, if that project moves forward, then yes, then it will. we will
Depending
still be
on
able to-
timing though, right? Like if this sat for a number of years, there's a deadline
Absolutely.
at some point where you would have to re-engineer things. So there
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
the timeliness aspect, an element to this as well.
The degradation of the road, whatever, as far as the utilities as well. So all of those things would be taken under consideration, that there would be a refresh if it's set too long, that there would have to be a refresh of engineering. I don't have an amount of how much that would be. We'd have to ask Mr. Turner about that. But, so there would be an incurred cost if it collected too much dust, let's say.
Okay.
Okay, we have two public comments over here, I believe.
Yep, there's Joe Donovan, did you have a comment?
So without this petition, the road project would be being voted on to move forward? right now,
Yeah.
without that petition.
This- The petition stops that process.
Scott, you wanted to make a comment?
I understand that you said we don't have numbers, because I'm caveman simple. Give me 100,000 swing. How much money will this cost if it dies right here tonight? 100,000 either way.
I think it was 21,000 was the comment. Is that right or wrong?
If this thing dies today,
I think that, if I understand the question, that would be an interest rate question. It would be the matter of how much interest rates move now before a reprice could occur. We did work with the underwriters last week. Anytime we prepare for something like this, we always have to work with the underwriters and do pre-pricing. And we did pre-pricing last week. The estimated effective rate was around a 380, 390, somewhere in that range, if that gives perspective. And you may recall, back when when council voted to put the certificates in the newspaper and go through the process, we were estimated at 433. So as of last week, we're at 380. A month and a half ago, we were at 430. So rates came down since then.
Right.
And it's just a matter of interest rates, to answer that question.
That moves
We don't
that
know what
around.
rates we'll do tomorrow.
Levi, you had a comment?
Actually, I was just curious, what's the best case scenario on the project moving forward on a timeline? Does anybody have an idea? Like, obviously, this delays it, but if everything's perfect in the world, when are we actually going to swing a hammer on Squaw Creek?
Andy, you want to take that one?
No. That's indeterminate.
Yeah.
Indeterminate.
Yeah, that's-
It's a 0 to infinity.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't predict that.
So you also?
Well,
This may be dumb, but if they can petition to squash it, could we petition to reinstate it?
No. There's no legal process for that.
but we can agree we're going to lose money if this dies here. If this dies, it's going to cost us 6 cents.
Okay, we've established that, right?
I don't think we have, man.
I think you just did.
Bond counsel,
Eric,
Possibly. Right?
What is the difference between a 430 and a 380 in this amount of money? I mean, a rough number, I'm not going to hold you to it.
I can give you the preliminary and then what we got last week. I'm sorry, I'm making you do this.
But to be clear, I mean, we're starting at a 380.
Right.
So it's a matter of what rates would do between now and then. So if rates were 0.5% higher, which they were a few months ago,
$500,000 compounded.
in terms of interest, it would probably be 500,000 to 600,000 in additional interest.
Compounded.
But
Oh, boy.
that's just the difference from when council did the notice of intent to last week. Those are indicative rates.
Top of $400,000.
Yeah. Do we have any determination about what interest rates might look like in the future? We don't even know if we could ever do this, but, I mean, like, let's say 3 months, what is it, the market seeing?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. That's a question that I.
That's the Federal Reserve.
So, yeah, but
Right.
from when we started the process to now, we would have saved the taxpayers $500,000 for getting a lower interest rate if we would have done it tonight. But now that we have no idea what that number could maybe grow to, or maybe it goes down, who knows?
We call it interest rate risk.
Yeah.
That's what it's subject to. What rates would do from now until the time the reprice could occur. And that's interest rate risk. We have a new Fed chairman being discussed. We have tariffs, we have inflation, you have GEOC. I mean, the interest rate question is a tough one.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people probably follow interest rates on a personal basis, but the city would be subject to interest rate risk.
Many factors.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I think I just want to level set. We had the CO, we had voted on it, we had meetings with Squaw Creek residents, we had everything kind of planned out, laid out flat. The petition has derailed that process, that has stopped that because it needs to go in front of the voters, and at the timing we have now, that will happen in November, correct? If we decide tonight we want to investigate and make sure that the petition is 100% valid, we can table the CO discussion and wait for that verification to happen. If it turns out that that is 100% valid, then we go to November. And at that point, we put it on the ballot, and if it passes, we start this process again, which in my head, rough math, we're behind 18 months-ish, right? If it doesn't pass, we have to wait 3 years before we can go address the roads or the water lines underneath Squaw Creek. So
that's 3 million gallons of water, at least 3 million gallons of water that will be leaked out of the pipes that we are losing as a city because of this.
And that's not even counting the financial risk that we've just identified and the financial obligation that we've already incurred.
Marcy, you have a comment?
I do. I have a request. So if city council moves forward to reissue their intent on the certificates of obligation, my request is that you specify which roads are going to be upgraded. And you specify what parts of the CO will be allocated to water and drainage according to our capital improvement plans for all of those. Because as the CO was written, plain vanilla generic, not a good idea. That's my request. If you reissue the intent.
Okay, we're letting someone talk. If you let her talk, do not speak over. You had your chance, take turns.
What,
Go ahead. Are you finished?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so unless you have something else, we need to go to a vote and see if we want to table it, right?
Could we ask if, from the petitioner, if they believe that it's the validity of it, and if it is, then it doesn't matter. It delays the inevitable for us to look at it.
It's going to delay it no matter what.
Right.
That's why I said the end result's the same.
Yeah. So.
But you could ask it. I mean, they wouldn't
Is
have submitted
it
it, I don't
valid?
think, if they
Is
would.
it good, the petition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So that eliminates one option, right? Right off the table. So now we have two.
They're the same options to me, so
Oh,
we still have
yeah.
the same options.
Right.
With
So
the same
how would
end
we,
result.
how would we,
Same end result.
what kind of motion, Andy, would it take to deny what we have right here and then,
Motion to deny the CO.
okay, the motion to.
Then that stops it. Then we're done, and if you want to do it again, you'd have to start the process all over.
Okay.
Is that faster?
That's probably as fast, that's probably as fast as it can be.
Right, I mean, there.
Starts today.
Yeah, and I know, we're trying to be clear. So really, the action item is the authorization of the certificate. You're not able to authorize it, there's a petition. You can't move forward. The only option is, do you want to table it to question the validity, or review the validity? And so that's really the only option on the table right now for purposes of this action item. When it comes to future, what you may do, this prohibits the ability to issue these certificates without submitting it to an election. And so what you may decide to do, what options you have, probably would be on a separate
I think,
action to discuss.
you're basically saying, in essence, the petition is equivalent to a denial. So nothing's going to happen.
Right, I mean, you really can't take action on it
If you want-
unless you want to
if you
take
want to
action
put
to
a pin in
table
it,
it
I guess you
for a
could
date
deny
certain
it.
for the validity issue.
But it's
That's
not
really
gonna
your
matter.
only option. at this
Marcy,
point.
you had another comment?
I have another comment that we actually focus on the worst streets in the city and the older neighborhoods first that are indeed half gone, that are crumbling roads.
What about the water?
The water, we have those two. Everybody can look at the CIPs, they're all online. That's my request. Our older neighborhoods should be treated equally. Thank you.
But-
We also paid for a streets
Yeah.
Yes?
But
assessment. so-
Chase, can you answer a question? How, is there any other section of roadway with a water line there that, I guess, loses as much water as the Squaw Creek line?
In comparison between the two,
Yeah.
water loss versus road,
No, just water loss between that road, that section there, or other sections of the city that would need to get repaired as well?
well, Squaw Creek is still,
It's the biggest water loss we have, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Second largest is outside our ETJ.
gotcha, okay.
Old, extremely old pipe and improperly installed. It's
Yeah.
literally 18 inches deep, laying on solid bedrock.
Yeah.
The last leak I repaired over there, I replaced over 100 feet of pipe. I pulled out probably 4 tons of rock.
Is that the longest road, Chase?
Swamp Creek, yes.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's the longest
No,
strip?
it's just the age of the pipe and it was not properly installed. They didn't
Yeah.
backfill it, they dug a trench, threw rocks, and laid the rock right back on top of it.
And didn't Michelle say something about our billing issue? I mean, we went down and what was that conversation? That's your arena.
Not sure that you were addressed for her for the billing.
Okay.
Well, and Squaw Creek is one of the original Rose Boulevard.
Yeah.
And I have maps back in the 70s, and Squaw Creek was the only thing on it.
Gotcha.
Plus, and then Laguna Vista.
Okay. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
telling us
Hold on.
we're pretty much
Sir.
done at this point?
So I'm trying to
Right?
make
Madam
sure I
Mayor.
understand this right. So we had a citizen that understood the fine details of the legal process of this, intentionally tanked this, so it couldn't be voted to go through tonight?
Yes,
Is that
100%.
Okay.
That's exactly what happened.
I have one question. How many names are required on that petition for it to be considered valid?
Andy?
Actually, the city secretary has that number.
Oop.
I can,
She's not here. Hold on.
261.
but she verified that through the elections administrator. I believe it
I
is,
think it was 261, Andy.
okay, if that's what you say. I wrote down 226,
All right, maybe I am.
but I could be wrong with that.
No.
It's 5% of the qualified.
It's 5% of the voters, and that's roughly the number.
We're
There were-
waiting on Dina to come back to give us that number.
231, excuse me, I'm sorry. I got it.
There were roughly,
I got it.
there were roughly 295
230.
signatures and roughly 226 needed. So
And
there's
that would
more
be
than-
my question as well, is if we do have,
30 people.
right.
Not just one person brought us to this tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what I'd like to say as well. Just, I want to hear from the people that did lend their name to this petition. Why is it an issue of, you think it's going to increase taxes beyond your comfort level? Is this going to be just not the area you want us to focus on first? Why? And so I just want to know if you would be willing to reach out. I would love to know what in the process didn't suit taste and how we can go about it to avoid this in the future. Obviously, like, this stop down doesn't help the city either way. And with 250 plus people lending their names to this, I think all of us as a city council and mayor need to know. So please let us know.
So you want 230 people to show up and tell us?
If you want to show up, if you want to email, you want to call, whatever the case may be.
Okay, and give their reasoning?
Sure,
right?
I would love to know what
230?
the
Okay.
case may be.
Mine is delay in the inaction of it carrying through in the stoppage in the process. It was first one priority, and it's not first one priority.
Are you saying you're a signer and that's the reason you signed the petition? Or,
Because this was supposed to be already done.
No.
Or started, sorry. That in order to keep us moving forward, we're trying to hold the council and the city responsible for what they were planning on doing.
okay.
We just burnt $400,000 to prove a point.
Okay, so basically, there's no reason to hammer on one person if 231 people signed it. So I think that's where we don't need to go. We need to move on. Need to move on and not keep drilling on and on the same subject. Are we allowed to move on and stop doing it? Okay, we're going to move on. Thank you. We're moving on.
Why would we move on when we still have public
We have to have
comment?
action on this, correct?
We're moving on.
But the council ought to be given the opportunity to make a motion.
Yeah.
All right, so let's make a
But you
motion.
can, I mean, everybody, it sounds like everybody's spoken more than
Right.
once.
More than once. Let's just keep moving.
Oh,
Do we have, I mean.
We've done that more
Do we
than
hear the
once.
language of the petition? I mean, what was presented to these people to ask them to sign this?
Give them to respond. I'm happy to respond, and I have copies too. I have one copy.
You want to read it all tonight?
I can read it if you want.
Please.
Okay. So this is a paragraph, the petition has 19 pages of signatures. They're not all full. Not all the pages are full with signatures. This is what's on the top of every petition. So in all caps, all bold, petition calling for an election within the city limits of the city of Willow Park, Texas, to authorize the issuance of certificates of obligation for street drainage and water line improvements according to Resolution 2025-17, approved on December 9, 2025, authorizing the publication and intent to issue certificates of obligation. That's the title. This is the body, lowercase. We, the undersigned, together with the signatories to the multiple counterparts of this petition, being at least 5% of the registered voters of the city of Willow Park, Texas, city, hereby protest and request that an election be called and held within the boundaries of the city of Willow Park, Texas, for the purpose of determining whether the City Council of Willow Park, Texas is granted authorization to issue certificates of obligation for the purpose of funding professional services and improvements to waterworks and water sewer system properties and facilities, improving and equipping streets, roads, and intersections, including drainage and improving the city's municipal drainage utility system for the, quote, Squaw Creek Road and Yucca et al. Projects, end quote. We petition the city upon verification of signatures to call an election as provided in Local Government Code, Section 271.049C, after the petition is filed with the city, and the city shall cause a ballot to be printed to permit voting on or against the proposition, quote, grant the City Council of the City of Willow Park, Texas, authorization to issue certificates of obligation in an amount not to exceed $10.111 million for the purpose of funding professional services and improvements to the waterworks and sewer system properties and facilities, improving and equipping streets, roads, and intersections, including drainage and improving the city's municipal utility system for the, quote, Squaw Creek Road and Yucca et al. Projects, end quote. The petition has been duly and properly executed in multiple original counterparts, but together constituting only one instrument. Wherefore, we, the undersigned, respectfully petition and request that this petition be duly and timely verified and considered, that the request contained herein be granted in all respects, and that the election be called as herein requested and as provided by law. And then there's signature blocks of 20 per page, and it says each of the undersigned certifies that she is a legally registered voter residing in the territory of the city of Willow Park, Texas. And then there's multiple places for signatures with date, sign, signature, printed name, residence, address, date of birth, and then the voter ID number.
Okay. So we have any more discussion, or are we going to move on?
I had a question. I remember when we originally brought this up, you had requested this go for a GO. I think the council obviously selected the CO route. And I think the verbiage you used at the time was putting it in front of the people or giving the people, the voter, the choice on that. Was that, have you spoken with Ms. Galley, or is that what the intent was to your knowledge? Was the, just trying to get clarification still, because the language is obviously very similar to the CO. And yeah, Ms. Galley.
Yeah, I think the difference is that transparency is important, and being able to be a voter and have an opinion is important, and that's what I spoke to.
I can answer that.
Please.
Marcy?
So, in all transparency, I modeled my language on the petition after a petition, a similar petition was done in another city in Texas. So, the connection you're trying to make between my petition language and what she might have said at a prior meeting, there's no connection there. Because what she said at a prior meeting was well before I got the petition wording from another gentleman.
No, I wasn't saying that. It was just, when I was talking about it, that was her taste for it at the time. And then it came about that this was the case. And so I'm still trying to figure out a causation between the two. What?
I spoke in November, and I said that $10.1 million, what is that, almost about 10% of our total debt of $100 million right now as a city? And a big ask like that should come before the citizens. And when this city agrees to spend $350,000 before you fund an effort, I have a problem with that. also. So.
So, Tandy?
When was the last time citizens were able to vote on this kind of debt? When was it put before the voters for us to have a say, yes or no? When was that done last?
10 years ago.
10 years ago?
So these signers knew that this was going to cancel Squaw Creek?
Okay, let's just don't quit cocking across. We've heard over and over. I would like to move along. We have a long agenda.
Mr. Maha, may I ask for one thing from Mr. Maha? There was discussion about the debt cliff. So can you speak to what that means and what that means for us when we're paying off debt versus backfilling?
Yes, ma'am, and this goes back to the meeting, I guess we had a month and a half ago.
Yes, sir.
In 2027, the city's existing debt drops off considerably. So the design of this CO that we were working on, the first payment would not occur until 2027. At the time, the city's debt was dropping. So the impact on the tax rate was somewhat break even. Actually, we calculated, depending on property values, the INS tax rate probably could have gone down a little bit next year. And then the other portion of the CO would be supported from water and sewer revenue. So part of the CO was designed to be supported from INS, fill in when the debt drops, and then the other portion from utility revenue.
So without backfilling with another CO, without having that debt payment, what happens?
The tax rate, when council meets this August to set the tax rate next year, you would consider lowering the tax rate at that time.
And then if new debt is issued, then the tax rate goes back up?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So do we have a vote that we need to make before we move on?
You can open open the floor to potential motions.
Okay, do we have any motions on item 12?
I'll make a motion in light of the petition to deny the CO.
Second?
Don't you have to decide the validity of the petition before you do that?
She said it was valid.
Is that it?
So Andy,
we have a second?
denying the CO just shuts everything down?
Yes. That's my view, Chris. Yes, I think that's right. I think she concurs. So you would be back at square one.
But we could then go for a potential another CO if we meet some of the parameters that the petitioner had set for us.
I second.
All in favor? Okay, moving on. Thank y'all very much.
Mayor,
Thank you for showing.
Mayor,
Yes?
you have to record his vote.
Yeah, all opposed.
Are you opposed?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Scott's opposed. Scott Smith opposed. Passed. Okay, now moving on to number 13. So we have a 13 and 14, Libby Afferblack. Afferblack, sorry. Libby?
I don't know.
Okay, let's quiet down. Go ahead, Libby.
All right, that's it. Well, another bone of contention. My name is Libby Afflerback. I live at 421 Big Creek Road. That is in Willow Park. The Home Rule Charter, I was skimming the whole document that's now that's in the packet, and obviously you can't absorb all that, but of course I'm back to the Board of Ethics question, and I thought this was going to be modified so that it wasn't a board, a quasi-judicial body that's going to be a subpoena, but that seems to be what's being proposed. My question, and I asked this at a Home Rule Commission meeting because I used to go to them, is about this code of ethics that's mandated. And I asked at the meeting, where is this code of ethics? It should be a written document. If you have a code of ethics, like your staff and your employees have to follow, it should be a piece of paper. It should be this is your code. And I still can't find it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to take a break. I need to take a break, and I'll start over again. I'm sorry. Thank you. Let's take a break.
That's what I don't know.
Item 13.
I'll take a break. Take a break.
It was,
It's all right, I can take it.
Are we live? Andy, we're waiting on you. Do you need to go ahead? We're going to wait on Andy. So, Dina is going to go to the hospital and get checked out. So that's why I was watching. I'm sorry that we delayed, that I wanted her to get to taken care of. So they're going to take her to the hospital and get her taken care of. So as soon as Andy and Sean get back in their chairs, and Rose, you're up.
I'm fine, I'll go ahead and, it's recorded, so
So
she can
Tony
do
will?
minutes. Yes, ma'am, she can do minutes from the recording, and I can write down what needs.
Okay, as soon as we get Andy and Sean back in their chairs, we're going to move on.
I went ahead and recorded the vote on the last item.
I got them too, thank you.
Did somebody go with Dina?
Yeah, they're going to take her.
Who?
I think Kevin.
Our
Oh, okay.
police.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, somebody's, yeah.
She'll be in good shape.
Okay.
Okay, as soon as we get Andy in his chair. Long night, it's time to eat, take a nap.
I think it's just
We're
called
just at
sleep at
8:20.
nighttime.
Right?
Yeah.
Have an airplane to catch at 8:30, so let's try to get done. Moving on.
He's not part of the quorum, ma'am, if you want to get going. He's not part of the quorum.
Okay, Libby, you want to go ahead and start?
Sure.
I'll start your 5 minutes. There you go.
All right, thank you. So I was talking about the Board of Ethics. In the home rule charter that's on the, I don't know if it's posted online, but it's posted in the packet. If you're looking for the ethics section, it's on page 27 and 28. And I printed out a little bit. It just says the city council shall establish an independent board of ethics to administer and enforce a couple of things, and the mandated code of ethics applicable to city officers, employees, and board and commission members. So I keep wondering where this code of ethics is coming from. It talks about, ethical procedures, but there must be a document somewhere, and I'd just like to know. I asked at a home rule commission meeting, and I thought Gene directed me to someplace else in the document. Maybe I just can't find it, but it seems like if this is a code of ethics, it's going to be a written document someplace that all your city staff and everybody's going to abide by. And then this Board of Ethics is going to enforce it. So I would just like to know where that code of ethics is, because I'm sure the people would want to read it too. A side question was about, it says the Board of Ethics would be composed of at least 5 volunteers, and I go again. So the people volunteer and then somebody picks them, and this is how you create a Board of Ethics. I just think this is a really dangerous road to go down. Also, it says the Ethics Board may consult with independent legal counsel and other independent experts as needed. And we're worried about legal bills. And this volunteer Board of Ethics is going to start monitoring everybody's ethics and calling lawyers and outside people. You might think about that too. I don't know where that's going to come. You're going to end up with spending more money. That's what I have to say about the Ethics Board. And then this, I hope is a mistake, but in the part after the draft, the document that's going to call the election, I hope this is just an error, and I'll bring it to Gene's attention, but in section 4, when it lists the precincts, it lists the portion, it's going to involve the people that live in precincts 410, 415, 425, and 435. And I live in 450.
I already fixed that.
Did you fix that? I brought my voter registration card in case I needed to prove it.
Okay.
So, anyway, Gene will take care of that. That's my thoughts about the Home Rule Commission. Thank you.
Okay.
The Board of
Thanks,
Ethics
Libby.
is a problem.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Roy Curbin, Judge Roy Curbin.
Just wanted to address some facts about the Home Rule Committee. The people that were involved in that project were involved in it for 6 months plus. We basically met 2 times a month, but most of the work was done in research. We'd step out, everybody would do the research and present it. We looked at 30 active Home Rule cities. 3 outstanding Home Rule packages were selected as the basis for our research. And our volunteer committee consisted of a former state legislator, an attorney, engineers, a realtor, business people, an HOA president, grandmother, and a college student. So this group was very representative of our population. And all these people volunteered to be there and do the best possible job they could. Each discussion was marked by a lively debate. The majority of work consisted of extensive research prepared outside of the meeting and set for discussion. We had a great attorney that helped us and pointed our way through any tight legal. It was Mr. Fritz Cross. Thank you very much. He was very patient and he stayed with us the whole way. When we had a question, he had an answer for us. If he didn't have it, he got it for us. A very special thank you I would like to extend to Gene Martin. He organized the entire flow of discussion. He was patient. He allowed everything to move at a good pace. Everybody participated. Everybody got to talk. Everybody felt they were contributors. It was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to participate with these citizens. They wanted to be there. They asked to be there, and they did a great job. There's a special thank you for Mayor Palmer, who requested that we start this, and on many of our meetings, she was there. I can assure everyone in the room that this was a job very, very well done, with great consideration and great debate. And I'd personally like to thank all the members that participated in this. It was quite an interesting and exciting and fulfilling job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Item 13, the Home Rule Charter, including the presentation of the charter by Chairman Gene Martin. Before I ask Gene to come forward, Buddy, you have your name on this as a sponsor. Do you have comments prepared before Gene comes forward?
Not before, no.
Okay, so you're not going to respond on this item?
Why would he respond before the presenter presented?
Well, I mean, his name is on here, sponsor,
Right.
so you have something to say.
I do. I'm going to wait for Gene to go present, and then we can discuss.
Okay, so you want to discuss after?
There is discussion.
Thank you, I'm sorry, Gene, go ahead.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, gentlemen of the council, the Home Rule Charter Commission was initially convened on August 21st, 2025, in an organizational meeting. Subsequently, during 11 working meetings, a proposed Home Rule Charter was drafted and improved through over 10 revisions. Willow Park City Attorney, present in the form of Fritz Watts. We really appreciated his valuable insights. But the firm provided a valuable review and input to the maturing product. The Home Rule Charter Commission members are unanimous in approving the attached document for submittal to the Willow Park City Council. Final amendments were incorporated to resolve comments submitted from the city attorney. The proposed Home Rule Charter was submitted to the city secretary on February 2nd, 2026. A copy of that document was provided to the City Council in the information packet supporting the meeting scheduled for February 10th, 2026. And a copy is attached here too. For completeness, I must note that additional comments were received from the City Attorney on February 3rd, 2026. A recommendation was made to amend Section 2.0 02.02, replacing the word device with a C with the word devise with an S. A second recommendation identified a typographical error in section 7.07B8 to add a space correcting, quote, LONGTERM by adding a space after the G. These two corrections are not incorporated into the proposed document as submitted because this is what I submitted on February 2nd. I did have an email conversation with Mr. Weiss about, is it proper to just have the city secretary make those corrections? And I state that the Home Rule Charter Commission commissioners are aware of these proposed corrections and have offered no dissent from adopting them. So that there is a question.
Sounds reasonable to me. I don't see any issue with that. You're talking about two clerical errors that the commission has, wants to be corrected.
Right. Okay? It is therefore with honor, respect, and pleasure that I formally submit the initial proposed home rule charter for the city of Willow Park, Texas, to the City Council of the City of Willow Park, Texas, as a proposition to the qualified voters of the City of Willow Park to approve the adoption of a home rule charter. Respectfully, and on behalf of the Home Rule Charter Commission, me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Andy, do you want to address the email that I got an hour before the meeting? Or I'm sorry, Gene, do you want to finish?
Well, I was going to state that Mr. Messer did call me a little after 5 o'clock, and we had a brief conversation. And I assume that's the email that you're talking about.
It is.
But I think it's more appropriate on item 14, not 13.
Right.
Because
That's what I was
13 really
thinking.
is the presentation, and 14 is considering the ordinance calling the election. And that's how I would see that.
Well, Mr. Messer, I agree with you 100%, because I think what I just did completed the action under item 13.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do we want a discussion before we vote on this? Any discussion? Buddy, you want to discuss?
Well, I had a question around the, and this is, Andy, I'm going to defer to you to some degree on this one.
Just to clarify, though, are we on item 13?
I'm still on 13, I think.
13.
I'm not talking about the election yet.
Okay.
I'm looking at the charter itself.
Sure.
That the charter, on the version I have shows that this has been approved by the Home Rule Charter Commission on the 31st of January. Was there an open meeting on the 31st of January?
No.
Should there have been?
Not necessarily. After the final meeting, the final working meeting, I received an email input from, again, Mr. Pace, that identified certain changes that were recommended. And what I did is I sent those recommendations out to all of the commissioners, and I requested their feedback with the provision that if I could not get 100% compliance, we would call another meeting. I do have emails, documentation that shows 100% agreement to adopt those changes.
Is that TOMA compliant in that regard? I mean,
Well, you have, if you're asking me the question.
I am asking you the question, yes.
So you're going to have to back up from that question to give an answer. And the question is, that I don't have the answer to definitively, is whether a charter commission, this charter commission, is subject to TOMA in the first place. And I'm not going to give you an opinion. I think it's probably not, but I'm not going to give you a firm opinion on that. It doesn't have any kind of sovereign power that would be required for, or something of the like that would require it to be subject to TOMA. Now that they posted on TOMA to give the public a notice, that's a nicety, but I don't know if it's a necessity. So I would have to do a little research to be able to give you a firm opinion on that.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a comment. We have attempted to operate the Home Rule Charter Commission as if we were absolutely required to follow TOMA. Okay? I have taken extraordinary steps to ensure that out of meeting conversation amongst the commissioners was disallowed, even from the way I distributed information and received information back from them. Everything I sent out was blind copied to all of the commissioners so that they could not respond as a group, for instance. Okay?
Well, I guess where I'm hanging up on this is the approval piece of this, because if we, as a council, had decided to pass an ordinance at a non-posted meeting and we did the approvals via email, even if it was blind copied, I don't know that it would have force of law. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if we're holding this to a similar standard, is this, as submitted, is it complete?
It appears to be complete to me, and I give you some other opinions that I am firm on, is that I do believe that the commission was legally constituted and the charter as presented is legal. Whether they're subject to TOMA, I don't have an answer to that.
Is that a roadblock?
Not as I see it, but I have not given you an opinion on whether it's a TOMA issue.
Well, I might also suggest...
I know you have a concern about that.
I am.
That's what you're saying, basically.
I don't know if it would, and I doubt it would help you, Mr. Wright, but the changes that Mr. Quast submitted that were reviewed electronically and agreed to electronically were all on the same basic level of change as device to devise and long-term to split it into two words.
Sure.
Yeah, so what you're saying, it was complete whether those changes were made or not.
That's correct.
So
There was no substantive
I understand.
thing.
So we're going to be able to vote on this
Sure.
as presented?
It depends on the council, it's up to the council's decisions.
Chairman Martin, you said you had unanimous approval of the attached document. When was the unanimous approval of the entire final draft attached document conducted?
The base document was approved as basically the last action taken at the meeting on, I believe, forget when it was, January 21st? I've slept since then, I'm sorry.
So are you saying that every person on the commission approved of every single item of this when it came up to vote during the Home Rule Charter Commission meetings? And now, because every single person voted for it, even though I did see a couple times where people didn't vote for it or had difference of opinions on sections of this, is that now you're saying that they give unanimous approval of the final draft even though people did not 100% agree with sections of this?
Parsing your question, just to make sure. I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I just find it weird that we have a approved document when we don't have a vote. I'm taking your word for it that it was unanimous, but there's no record of it that we've seen, that anybody's seen. It wasn't an open meeting and it wasn't published at all.
Well, we could Well, no, I don't need to do that. So what is your question?
Well, if I can, last meeting, I did ask you a couple questions. I just want to follow up on them and see if you had some answers. Did every member of the commission receive their Texas Open Meetings Act training and certificate 90 days from after being appointed?
Well, there's no requirement for every member of the Home Rule Charter Commission to have taken that training, so I don't really know. I know that some of them did go through that.
I think you made a statement, if I believe correctly, that everybody was going to do that at one of the earlier meetings. I could probably find the video clip if you'd like me to.
I doubt that I said that everybody was going to do something, because I don't usually predict what other people are going to do. I did, I'm pretty sure, state that I recommended that everybody take that training, yes.
Well, then it's my fault on that one if I did get that wrong. But a couple of the areas that I wanted to kind of focus in on that I was hoping to see some changes, but I didn't see any, that I think present a gigantic problem. Chapter 9.03, Campaign Finance. A, disclosure. Does this section defy current state law found in the Texas Ethics Commission, Title 15, Section 254.031, which in that document, the Texas Ethics Commission document says the general contents of reports in this section, the state law says the amount of political contributions other than political contributions described by subdivision 1A from each person in the aggregate exceed $50 and that are accepted during the reporting period by the person or committee required to file a report under this chapter, the full name and address of this person making the contributions and the dates of the contribution. So my question is why does the Home Rule Charter, Chapter 9.03A, which says only contributions of $250 or more need the contributor's name, address, etc.?
Great question, and I'm not sure why that didn't get caught in the legal review that was done a couple of different times. But I can state that there are specific entries in the Home Rule Charter that say the content of the charter is subject to state and federal law. So it's self-correcting.
Well, kind of. HB 2127 from the 88th Texas Legislature limits the ordinances that contradict state laws. So this right here, having it in there, contradicts state law. Correct?
I'm just an engineer. I'm sorry. You could
Yeah,
ask
we'd
Mr.
have to
Messer
study
that.
that to give you an opinion on that. I don't know that off
So
the cuff.
So the reason why I bring this up is there's a gap between the Texas law saying $50 you would have to report everything, and then now we have $250 or more you would have to report everything in the Home Rule Charter as it is.
Right.
So if you look at that, people go, is the Home Rule Charter Commission trying to allow dark money in the form of campaign contributions under $250 to take over our city? No, it's a question.
That's good.
Good question.
Well, Mr. Contreras, you started this by stating that you had certain expectations for change that you hoped to see, but you didn't see them. I don't recall ever getting any input from you on anything you hoped to see change.
That's another conversation that you and I had offline where you didn't want to hear my feedback on the Home Rule Charter Commission. So let's move on to another one that I feel extremely problematic. So Section B of Chapter 9.03, Campaign Finance, Contribution and Spending Limitations. From my analysis, the entire section violates both federal law and specifically violates Texas Ethics Commission law. Again, my question is, why is the Home Rule Charter Commission trying to limit our freedom of speech? So, in case you haven't made the correlation between the two, the Supreme Court has ruled 4 times that campaign contributions are protected freedoms of speech under the First Amendment. So let's look at those Supreme Court rulings. So that would be Buckley v. Vallejo, 1976, Citizens United versus FEC, 2010, McCutcheon versus FEC 2014, and the FEC versus Colorado Republican Federal Campaign Committee in 2001. So we have 4 Supreme Court rulings that say you cannot limit campaign contributions, but the Home Rule Charter is trying to do that. And the state of Texas actually says as well, you can't do that.
And your question is?
Why is it in the Home Rule Charter?
Okay. We cannot change the charter at this point. It is presented to you.
So we're going to have the city of Willow Park potentially in a Supreme Court ruling because we're violating the First Amendment. That's what the Home Rule Charter Commission is saying?
No, that's what you're saying.
Well, it's showing that it's going to violate the First Amendment rights of everybody.
Well, I'm listening to your explanation and assertion of that, but I don't have that text in front of me right now, and I don't think this is the proper place for this debate. If you wanted to have this debate, you could have contacted me. You didn't. And when you said that you or we had some prior conversation, I don't think you and I have discussed this at all, sir.
Okay, well, I think we did at a Parker County Republican meeting at Weatherford College, but we can talk about that later. So the next thing I want to talk about is section 3.05, compensation expenses. And again, we're talking about the final draft, which was just given to us, and so most of the time when we would make a comment, things get changed, maybe not get changed. A lot of times it hasn't been changed. But, so I want to just bring this to your attention on the final draft copy. So why would the Home Rule Charter Commission have a section for the mayor and council to set their own salaries? What happened to serving the community versus serving to collect a paycheck?
Okay, part of that conversation had to do with, as the city grows, then some compensation to the city council members is not necessarily expected or mandatory, but allowed. Even the draft charter that the kind of practice group put together in 2009 had an entry that specified that council members would get a certain fee compensation for each council member attended. I think it was a large sum of $25. And in this case, I believe that the allowance is for the council to determine if, and if so, how much they should provide compensation. However, let's say this council decided to provide compensation. It would not go into effect until the next council was elected. So it's kind of not self-serving.
To a degree, because you have 3-year terms, so all you would need is one election, and then you can set your own pay, and then you have 2 years of collecting pay, correct?
Well, there is the concept that we are hoping to elect reasonable people to the seat, so there shouldn't be a problem with that, right?
Typically, yes, that would be correct, but I guess the question is in 2009, you defined, the dollar amount, as you said, $25 if I
think that's what it was.
Something like that, yeah. And other cities have a very small number as well. And my question is why didn't we put that in here versus letting it be somebody getting elected saying, hey, I want to make $100,000 here because I think I do a great job. And guess what? They can't be, they have to wait 3 years before the next election, correct?
Well, yeah, except they got to do that in public.
Yeah, but they just got elected, so you would think they would probably be thinking, okay, yeah, I should be okay. But this just is a slippery slope, Gene, and the big piece of it is where is the money going to come from to pay these salaries.
Yeah, you would think that the council, if they approved paying themselves, they would have it in a budget.
You would think, and if we don't have that available, that money, that's going to be taxes being raised. So I guess my question is did we not think of that concept that potentially taxes could be raised because of this? Or we could have just stated up front, hey, you get a salary of $1, which I would be more than happy to donate back because I don't want money for this job. I think it's a servant job. You're taking time out of your day to work for the city and the people here, and I don't want to be paid. And this just seems like you're going to get people in for the wrong reason because they just look at this as a blank check.
I think that's a stretch, but you're entitled to your opinion.
But it's not a stretch because it's blank in here.
Okay. No, I don't need it. Thank you.
We can talk about that being theoretical, but I was reading about a city.
So we're not able to, since this is final thing, there's nothing to delete out of this. We're just going to have to accept this, and if we're violating the First Amendment, we're violating the First Amendment. So how would we pay for some of these things like Miss Libby brought up is we have to pay for the legal fees of the ethics board and their investigations and everything else?
I am not sure what section Ms. Alphabet was reading from, but I don't believe that's actually in the document.
Oh, I got it right here.
There you go.
Break it out.
If you want to come up to the mic, sir, I can hear you. It leaves it open for interpretation, which, just like the salaries for council and the mayor is open up for interpretation. There's no hard dollar amount.
Yeah, this is, I didn't copy all the pages, but it's Board of Ethics, Section B. The Ethics Board may consult with independent legal counsel and other independent experts as needed. I'm assuming you pay, lawyers don't.
Oh, we would pay. I'm sure we
That was
would.
right.
We do now.
Lawyers don't work for free, right?
So the question is how many hundreds of thousands of dollars would we go through a year for the Board of Ethics? Because there's no limit. There's no, hey, you can't spend more than X amount of dollars. You can spend whatever you want to investigate whatever you want, whoever you want. Why wouldn't you put a cap on there? Because what this does is this hamstrings the council because we have to budget for something we have no idea how much money this is going to cost us.
This section starts with the words, "The city council shall by ordinance establish an independent board of ethics to administer and enforce the conflict of interest ordinance, financial disclosure ordinance, and mandated code of ethics applicable to city officers, employees, and board and commission members." If you're concerned about some limit, that can be defined in an ordinance that establishes the board that you're worried about.
So again, why are we putting something in a charter, but then having people not the citizens are not doing this, the council's doing this, creating ordinances to fill in the blanks. Why didn't we just fill in the blanks with the Home Rule Charter Commission at the beginning? And everything is well defined.
Actually, we did define a very, very stringent and detailed definition for a board of adjustment. And I really hope if this passes that you and the council will look at that as a possible model for what to adopt. There are parts of that I didn't like, some of which were probably not suited for a city our size, better suited for Fort Worth, San Antonio. But the concepts in there are, I think they make a good model.
So from my viewpoint on this is going to raise taxes because we're going to pay a council and a mayor. We're going to have to fund a board of ethics who's going to investigate and rack up bills because that's their goal, is to investigate everything, right? To make sure everything's ethical. So there's only 3 ways to really figure out how to fit this into the budget, right? And I want to make sure people understand this because this definitely connects very well. So the first way is the home rule charter raises your taxes, maybe even doubles your taxes, but we have to find enough money.
Decorum, please.
So
Everyone?
I'm allowed to speak like everybody else.
Okay,
is,
everybody.
But I guess people
let's
don't want
be
me to
quiet.
speak. Thank you.
Finish
Mayor.
this out.
I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
So,
Go ahead.
and because we have to fund all these different things, the Board of Ethics, salaries of potentially career politicians coming in here just wanting to collect a paycheck. The second way is the city would start having to cut services to the community. So what does that mean? You know, maybe trash in the streets, parks and playgrounds are not going to get maintained. Your roads are going to look like they were in the 80s and 90s. Even more potholes, worse conditions because we have to cut something. So the third way is to develop.
Can you not call it Don?
We've asked other people tonight to be quiet during this time as well. I'd request the same thing. This is no different than any citizens jumping up to speak. Let's give everybody the same respect. This is a marketplace of ideas.
Yep.
Everybody gets to share their ideas, and whether you like it or you don't, you sit, you listen, you take it in, you judge them based on the merits of their discussions, and that's where we go from here. So let's listen. If you don't like it, don't like it. You like it, let's go.
summarize.
But let's keep it
don't
down.
Just keep drawing it out. Summarize. It's been a
Yes.
long time. Go
So
ahead.
the third way is to develop every inch of Willow Park to pay for the home rule charter because, again, we don't know how much money this is going to cost us and how much money we have to budget this for. So we're going to have to put businesses everywhere and houses everywhere to grow our tax base, right? So I guess the one last thing I have is a statement made by a former city council member. And this person said, what is the role of the city council and mayor? You know, first off, these are not paid positions. These are volunteers. And I agree with that, 100%. He goes on to say that the city council sets policy and the mayor has enough authority to take action or modify policy set by the city council. Then he says we need to be very careful not to allow that to happen. And what they
Not to allow what to happen?
the mayor to overextend their authority. So my question is that a fair statement or not?
Of course it is.
Good. I agree with it too. So why in this home rule charter do we extend the mayor's power?
We don't.
Yes, we do.
We integrate the mayor with the council. You mean by giving the mayor a vote?
And other things, yes.
And which other things?
I don't have it in front of me,
Oh.
Chairman Martin, but
Okay.
I can get it for you if you'd like. I mean, there's only so many papers I can have in front of me, but, so I guess, do you know which former council member said that?
Oh, you'll tell us.
Yeah. It was you.
I know.
Yeah, I knew you knew that. So I guess my question is after we understand that we're going to potentially violate Texas law, potentially violate our First Amendment rights, and probably going to raise taxes, do you still support the home rule charter as written?
I absolutely support the home rule charter as presented. And I obviously disagree with your assessment of how out of whack the council would get because of the home rule charter.
I'm just looking at violating Texas law, violating the U.S., the Constitution, First Amendment. Those are the ones I'm really just, this is going to be tough.
Is that your summarization? Eric, got anything else?
Yes, and I would like to make a motion.
I want more discussion first.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Discussion. Fritz? Andy Messer? You said Fritz, right? Fritz has been sitting in on meetings, right? I've come to not all the meetings, but I've come to meetings. We have paid for the consultation of Fritz, not only Fritz. I believe, Judy, y'all had conferences and more attorneys, not just Fritz. There was a lot of attorneys involved. We have paid a lot of attorneys. And so my question, based on everything that the councilman has brought up and trying not to accept this, Fritz, would you have let that go on if you thought we were doing wrong, that that commission was wrong? Would you have done that and sat there and let that happen? You seem very, very involved, right?
So let's just say this. I have some rational responses to the councilman's concerns. However, I don't feel like these are things that should or can be discussed in open session.
Okay.
So if we would like to adjourn to closed session.
Well, we just had an open discussion and all
Well,
that.
but I'm going to be giving legal advice at this point.
He's recommending going into executive
That's
session
correct.
if you want to have this discussion.
Let's do that.
But we've already just had
So
slashing of the
It doesn't-
home
But-
rule
But
commission by
Your
doing
lawyer
that.
wants to give you
We
advice.
just
I
did
want to give
that.
you legal advice, is what I'm trying to.
Well, let's back up for a second. You know, if you want, I'm not sure that everything the council member respectfully said is accurate. I don't take it just carte blanche that it's 100% accurate and then, oh, let's just go down that road. I'm not going to do that. So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a fair way to do things, but if we want to have attorney-client communication about this, then yes, let's go into executive session.
I think that's a great idea.
So,
Carol,
I was signed up for public comment on item number 14. May I respectfully request that I be allowed to speak before you go into executive session before then?
that's fine by me. You got a problem with that? Okay, Carol Bracken.
We're still not done with discussion. Are you talking on 13?
Good evening. My name is Carol Bracken. My husband Larry and I live at 73 Crown Road. We've been residents there for 29 years. I have been privileged to serve on the Home Rule Charter Commission since last August, and it's been a wonderful experience. I've been very proud of my fellow commissioners. It's a very diverse group, and they've all worked very hard. One of the things that I would like to make sure that you know, before you go and hear what Fritz and Andy have to say, is that when we began our deliberations, we made it very clear that we were trying to craft a charter, not just for this current period, but also for the future. We wanted to craft a document that was a living document that would hopefully last for 50 years, knowing that they will have to be changed over the years to deal with ongoing statutory changes as they occur. To that end, it's important to remember that a charter is a framework. It's not intended to be a 6-volume compendium of the rules and regulations on how a city is run. We specifically went to a lot of trouble to understand and respect the role of the city council. We gave you free rein, and rightly so, to exercise the police powers associated with cities. We gave you free rein, and rightly so, to create departments and commissions and boards without any kind of oversight from the Home Rule Charter Commission, because that's not our role. That is very much the role of the city council. In dealing with, for example, the concern you raised about payment, we thought very strongly that we would trust our elected officials to behave reasonably. And part of what we liked about Home Rule Charter is that citizens have rights of recall and petition that would give them the right, within that 3-year period between elections, if they did do something as foolish as voting themselves a $100,000 salary, that the citizens of this community had an immediate way to address that concern. That's number one. With regard to the ethics board, We were presented with some very specific frameworks for that, and we thought that was inappropriate. This is something new for the city of Willow Park. It's not new in the state of Texas, but it's newer. We thought it was appropriate to leave it entirely in the hands of the city council to form a code of ethics that would be voted on in front of the citizens, to form a commission, an ethics commission that will be voted on in front of the citizens of this committee, and to form a budget, and to form rules. For example, with the rules associated with putting together budgets for some sort of, legal fees, accounting fees, or whatever. That being said, we did feel that it would be appropriate for the citizens of this community to feel like there is an independent body they could go to if they saw evidence of excess or impropriety. Because as it stands right now, there's no place for any of us to go except potentially the district attorney's office or the county attorney. And a lot of what we see may not rise to that level. So I respectfully disagree with your assessment that this is going to cause our tax rates to what, triple? That's not been, there are over 300 home rule charter cities in the state of Texas. 388, thank you. And I do not believe that they have all found their taxes ballooning as a result thereof. What I do think you find is that they have gotten to the point of population where the general law city format, which we've been working under for so long, no longer suits them. They need to have a more flexible structure that gives them the ability to address problems more creatively and not just within the confines of a small statute. They need to have the ability to petition their government more effectively. And your concerns, Mr. Contreras, with regard to the First Amendment, I heartily agree with. And I think one of the major functions of a home rule charter system is it gives the citizens the ability to address their concerns directly to their city council between elections in a way that will force them to be taken more seriously. So we do repose a great deal of trust in the city council formula. I hope that all of you understand that. I hope you know that we don't think you will behave unreasonably, but we also think that the home rule charter would give us the mechanism for dealing with it if you did. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you want, sure, you can.
That's what I wanna
You can put a
do.
pin in it if you want.
Okay, we're going to have one more question, then Jean's going to talk, and we're going to go straight ahead with the rest of the agenda, and we're going to go back to executive session to deal with this. So Jean, you had signed up to talk on 14?
I did.
Okay.
Are we done with 13?
Mr. Martin, I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
please, go ahead.
I just had a question. So if I understand of what I'm hearing is just that if there are discrepancies or things that this is a framework to start with,
Do we need to?
what is the process if things are
We're going to stop?
forgotten or need to be changed? Isn't it another petition situation and then it has to be taken to the voters only every 2 years?
I know. Andy, I don't think we should proceed with
Okay,
that.
I mean, you're the chair of the meeting. We don't have to proceed, but we can proceed. They're talking one-on-one, so.
We have
Whatever,
I don't think we
whatever your
should.
pleasure is.
Yeah, I don't think we have a councilman go out to talk to an attorney in the middle of a meeting. I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay.
So do you want to have him come back in to,
Sure, I can ask them to come back in.
ask him to come back in? Come back in, let's go on with the meeting.
Tony, will you go out there?
Sir?
I'll go out.
Yes, I'll go
Doesn't
back.
matter.
There's some room, I think it's, there you go, thank you.
Do we not need somebody having the city secretary's position?
I have not heard anything. I don't have my phone, so.
Tony
Tony?
said she would do it.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Left off.
Okay.
Do what? I don't have my phone. We have our phones put up.
Live mic if it's.
Hey, Chief. Chief. Do you have any updates on, do you have any updates on
Okay,
the,
do I need to call a break?
She sent me a message, but I didn't, we're not on the.
We're going to call a break until Councilman seats back. Okay, Jean, you had asked to
We-
speak on 14.
We're done with 13?
Well, I had a question.
We're going to go into executive session if need be when we go back again.
So what you're saying is we are pausing agenda item 13 to go to
13.
14, is that right?
Right.
We have not concluded 13.
Right, we want to go to executive session, it's
So if there's a
fine.
motion that wants to be made,
just
that can
don't
be
need-
done when we resume
Well,
on 13.
I guess I have a question. What action did you contemplate taking under item 13 other than me doing what I did to present the charter?
Yeah,
On 13, we can ask that we have a vote to
do what?
accept the home charter as presented. We left that hanging for the council to vote.
So,
That's where we're left.
so I think we were still in open discussion on that before everything happened, but I want to go back to the very first question that we started on, which was the Texas Open Meeting Act requirements for home rule. And I just sent this to Andy, and I sent it to Buddy as well at his request. So under Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, because it was created by a city action, your board is required under TOMA. You don't have to have the training.
Is that right or wrong,
No,
Andy?
that's
The attorney?
not accurate.
Not accurate.
Well,
From the attorney. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I'll give you an example.
Explain
Please,
for
because
us.
I'm reading it
All
directly
right,
from the
so,
code chapter.
so,
551.
so many cities have park boards. Park boards are a pure advisory board that are not subject to TOMA. So that would not be accurate, but they're created by the council. That's just an example. And but there's other boards
This
that
was
are,
specific to home rule, though.
that doesn't matter. TOMA does not distinguish between general law or home rule. So, I mean, respectfully, that would be my opinion on that.
I actually did look this up back in August because I wanted to be sure, and I could find no reference that a home rule charter commissioner was individually required to take TOMA training or Public Information Act training.
In that code, it does specifically state that y'all are not required for it, but it did specifically state a home rule charter is under TOMA.
So as our attorney, Andy?
I don't have okay, we've been talking about this, and let me say this as plain as I can say it. I cannot give an opinion on whether this home rule charter commission is subject to TOMA on the spot right now. I can give you an opinion, maybe tomorrow or the next day, but I cannot do it right now. So it's more complicated than that. So.
And again, we've had an attorney in every session. So.
Yes, that's true, but that's
gonna
not
go to-
relevant whether they're subject to TOMA.
So we're going to go to closed session on
I
13,
didn't get the
right?
question answered.
Tony has a question.
I'm sorry, I had a question before we broke that we didn't finish. So just of the, is it 2 years that it has to, what's the process if things need to change? If you
My
need-
understanding is once you approve an initial charter
Yes.
or approve a change to a charter, then it's a 2-year period before you can amend it again.
But is it also by petition that you have to request the change?
No, there's multiple ways that you can amend a charter. The
Okay.
city council can recommend a change to the charter. And I forget specifically, I think that's under 9.004, but I don't remember.
And
But have it, there you go, amending the charter. 803, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but,
But then that goes back to another election, so there's another, so now we have to have another election, right?
once the charter is put in place, it can never be amended by anything other than a vote of the citizens.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
That's accurate.
Okay.
okay. So we're left hanging, so we're going to go back, and I guess we're going to,
Well,
you presented
let
it.
me just, I mean, there's only a couple of things, I think, that you could take action on. You could either say, no, we're not going to accept it, or you can say, yes, you are going to accept it.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
So
They
what do you wanna
they can, under the statute 9003, all they can do is accept it unless there's other legalities that they want to work out. So they cannot, in my view, it would be illegal not to accept it.
Okay, so as our attorney, you're saying we can take a vote and they need to accept it. That's what you're saying?
I am saying there are things that they can do, but rejecting it is not one of them.
Okay. All right. So we need to take a vote that it was presented.
Not necessarily,
Okay, so it's presented and we're moving on.
potentially.
Okay, let's move on then.
I would like to make a motion.
I mean, the floor was not open for motion.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
now, but
Sorry.
you said you want to make one, so at some point, the floor needs to be open for motions in general.
So you're saying they can't, but now they can. What do you want?
Oh, let them do
No.
it.
I'm sorry.
I thought we were going to go into closed session and discuss this.
No, we're,
At this point, I don't know if the discussion by the council is concluded, but if it is, then you can open the floor for motions. Or if you want to go into
Let 'em
executive
do
session,
it.
you can.
Go
Or
ahead.
or if we want to, if you want to stop this in mid-sentence and go to item 14 and come back to 13 later and take it out of order, you can do that as well, as chair of the meeting.
I think I'd like to hear, if we're going to go into executive to talk about 13, it would be appropriate, it would be inappropriate to vote on 14 before we hear what's going on 13.
It would be better.
Yes.
But you're
Okay.
saying on 13, they don't have an option to reject it?
Yes.
Did you say that?
I did not say that. I said it would be illegal to do that.
Okay, so I don't want to be illegal
I
sitting
understand.
here
I mean,
presiding over
I
this
give it,
meeting.
this is like attorney,
Help me.
this is like a physician-patient relationship. Physicians give recommendations, patients can reject it or accept it or not. I give recommendations, I give my opinions, clients can take it or leave it, reject it or not do it. And I've had it happen both ways. So I'm giving you my opinion, and council has the discretion to do what they're going to do.
But I would like to be legal as I'm sitting
Understand.
here running the meeting.
Understand?
So legally, do we need to take a vote or accept legally?
You don't need.
You're our
You
attorney.
You can, if the discussion's finished, you can open the floor for motions. In my view, the council does not necessarily have to vote to accept. It's been presented to the council as final form. That's what's required in the statute, whether the council votes to accept it or not. Then the next agenda item is, are you going to call the election for that? That's how I would see that. If you want to vote and accept it, perfectly fine. I don't think you necessarily have to. Right.
Okay, so we can move on for 13, it's already done, and then move on to 14 to vote for the election.
Unless you want to go into executive session, or if you want to have more discussion by the council and open. for
Madam Mayor,
motion.
you can, as Mr. Messer was saying, open the floor for a motion and see what happens.
Andy, can I also ask to, just for fear of sounding too much like somebody testifying in front of Congress, but can you define accepted? Like, there's a difference between like signing for a package, yes, I've received it, but you don't necessarily want the contents thereof, and just defining what accepted means to.
Yeah, it's going to be a common dictionary definition. It's not going to be a legal definition. It's not, there's nothing like that defined
Okay.
in the statute. So in my view, it would be simply going through the motions to accept it as presented, and then
Okay.
you can decide what you're going to do with it at that point, whether you're going to call the election, potentially table it, reject it, I don't know.
Perfect. No, that's
So-
what I needed
so-
to know.
So I guess I would say if you're going to reject it, this would be a point to do that. Although I don't
Okay.
think that's legal,
You don't think it's legal to reject it?
no.
So why do I want to call for something that's illegal?
I'm not asking you to call for something illegal, I'm asking you to open the floor for motions and see what takes place, because that's the procedure for the meeting in any way. I don't, how else to,
Council, is it not true that they can't overrule or remove this at all? They have no choice but to accept this, period.
well, no.
They can't stop.
They cannot, well, no, that's not accurate either. So they potentially could table this, and it would be the election would be called at the next uniform election date, which would be November, not May.
So you're stopping May and pushing to November in this process?
That is a potential, in response to his question.
It is a fact, and it's on the record, that the commission submitted the charter to the council, period.
Yep.
Okay.
Are we done with discussion for number 13?
Open the floor to motions.
Well, it's presented,
Are you going to?
so why do we have to
vote
do a
on it? Okay.
motion?
Discussion and action.
That's what the normal procedure is at a called meeting. So presentation is made, there's discussion, and then you open the floor for any motion.
Okay, so what we're going to do, is there a motion to accept the Home Rule Charter as presented?
I would like to make a motion to thank the Home Rule Charter Commission for their time and service. Additionally, I'd like to discharge the Home Rule Commission as they've submitted their final report. This releases them from any further obligation or duty.
Discharge them? I don't understand that. We were asking for a vote and whether it's going to be presented, not discharge them.
That's
I don't understand that, I guess. We're saying whether we're going to accept the home charter as presented.
I
That
suppose-
is what I asked, right?
I suppose the question is that a proper motion under the agenda item as posted?
It's broad enough to do that.
Okay?
But I'm asking for a motion to accept the home rule charter as presented. I'm asking that. Is that a problem?
No.
Okay, I'm asking that. Is there a motion to accept the home rule charter as presented? Is there a motion?
We
in
already
this
have- we
council
already have
at
a motion
all?
on
Well, there is a motion on the floor that needs to be addressed before another motion can be made, procedurally,
Which one is that?
the one he just made.
To disseminate, I mean, just totally,
Didn't say that. I said
You want to
discharge.
repeat it?
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to thank the Home Rule Charter Commission for their time and service. Additionally, I would like to discharge the Home Rule Commission as they've submitted their final report. This releases them from any further obligation or duty.
so there's a motion to discharge the home rule commission. So that's what they're going to vote on?
As he.
Okay, so that's a motion. So we're going to call a second to, who's going to call a second on that one? Buddy's going to call a second on that one. All in favor to disband the Home Rule Commission? All unanimous. Okay, there you go.
I'm glad May's coming up.
Good.
Okay. So, now we're going to vote?
I think we're on 14.
Okay, so now we're on 14, discussion action to consider approval of ordinance calling for a special election for May 2nd, 2026, for the purpose of consideration of approval of a home rule charter. Gene, you signed up for 14. You want to talk about 14?
I did. There were a couple reasons I did that. When I looked at the ordinance that was in the packet as published the middle of last week, I noted that there were a couple of fatal flaws in there. One, the wrong reference to the local government code had been cited. That has been corrected in the most recent update to the ordinance that is not published online. But as Ms. Affelbach mentioned a little while ago, there was a separate section that cited 4 voting precincts in Parker County, 3 of which are actually intersect with parts of Willow Park, and 1 doesn't exist anymore. It was converted to 260, I guess, 4 years ago. But it also missed precinct 400, which is a little piece of land just north of White Settlement Road, and I think there's 1 house in it, but it still intersects with the voting district of Willow Park. And then precinct 450 is all that part of Willow Park that is west of Farm Road 5 and south of Interstate 20.
Okay, I can't hear him, y'all. You're disrupting. Go ahead, Gene.
So Mr. Messer has those changes that it should cite precincts in, I think, is that section 3?
Yeah, so it's on page 2, section 4, under heading voting precincts, polling place hours. And the voting precincts, as I understand it correctly, are 400, 410, 415, 435, and 450.
410, 415, 435, and 450, yes.
And 400.
And 400,
Yes.
right.
Those are the correct precincts, as I understand it.
Okay. And I don't know if there's any other little errors in there, but they're not showstoppers like those 2 would be. And then earlier this evening, before the meeting, I guess a little after 5 o'clock, I got a call from Mr. Messer, and he stated that one of the council members was still questioning the fact that the mayor had the authority to create the home rule charter. And because he still had questions on that after being told by the attorney, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, that he had been informed that no, the mayor did that legally and in compliance with Local Government Code Section 9.002 D1C, and that this council member wanted y'all to table this and deny the citizens the ability to vote on it.
That's not what I said on that part. It's not a denial.
Well, that was an editorial on my part. I'm sorry.
That's not, yeah, that was not part of my, what I said. I said it would, the effect of tabling it would necessarily move it to the next uniform election date, which would be in November.
Well, that is correct. But to deny the opportunity at the local election to vote on it as a local item and shove it into November under the umbrella of federal and state issues. Okay. I've put a lot of work into this. Several other people put a lot of work into this. I believe that a great number of citizens in Willow Park would like the opportunity to vote on this. If y'all don't like what's in it, you are quite free, and I'm sure you will, explain to people what it is and why it is you don't like content of it. I don't see why that should cause any of you to decide you don't want the citizens to vote on it. That's all I got to say.
Do you need to address it?
No, I think the part that he talked about accurately, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
is that it was brought to my attention yesterday, a council member wanted to know if it could be tabled legally. I researched it, and I wrote an opinion on that today, and said, yes, if there are legal concerns expressed on the record, such as TOMA, that could be a basis for tabling it, and to get clarification on those issues at another date.
Okay, so we've had an attorney there every time, and yet an hour and a half before this meeting, you sent an email out.
Absolutely.
An hour and a
This was
half.
brought to my attention the day before.
Right. So yesterday,
And I believe that's a reasonable response in that period of time, given the plethora of legal issues that are facing the city right now.
isn't that the truth? All right, I agree with that one. Okay. So is there any discussion, or is there a motion to approve calling a special election? I believe we need.
So from a discussion standpoint, I will say that I have raised questions about this since December. And what I have gotten from the attorneys has been a verbal of opinion of, it's legal. I think, my opinion is that it's legal. What I've not gotten is something that says that I'm wrong in my interpretation. I've not gotten bullet points that say this is not how this is done.
True or not true?
I've said it is wrong. I don't
You said
agree
it
with
is
it, but
wrong.
I don't have bullet points.
Right, you said it's wrong,
Wrong.
but I don't know why. I don't know how. It's just a.
He's an attorney. You're saying it's
Well,
wrong?
let him finish and we can have.
I'm so confused. Go ahead.
Part of this that I keep stubbing my toe on is on 9.002, Section D, where the mayor appoints the board, that's fine. But then there's an "and" clause after that that says that that the committee has proceeded with the formation of a charter. How do you do that if you hadn't lawfully created a board already? And I haven't gotten a good answer, satisfactory answer to that makes any sense. What I've gotten is, it's a chicken and egg problem, but I haven't gotten a good yes or no, this fits the "and" clause in that subsection.
So my opinion, I understand what you're saying, and in my view, we have had multiple discussions about this, and I've tried to explain what my opinion is based upon. So let's talk about the two parts of it to be fair and put it all in context, not just a section of it, or not just a sentence of it. So if you don't have a charter election, which we did not, there are 3 ways in the local government code that are spelled out how a charter commission can be constituted. First way, and I'm just going to read them to you, the governing body, the municipality, selects a charter commission. So that's the council doing it. Number 2, a charter commission is selected at a mass meeting. Mass meeting is not defined. It's probably a holdover from antiquity. Number 3, the mayor of the municipality appoints a charter commission. So you have council appointment, mass meeting appointment, or the mayor appointing it. And that's what happened here.
Yes.
And that statutory authority is given to the mayor to do that. The second part of it with the "and" that Buddy is talking about says, "and the charter commission has proceeded with the formation of a charter for the municipality." And his view, that I don't agree with, is that means the charter has to already be formed and operating before it can be appointed. That's the chicken and the egg thing. I don't see that. My plain reading of the language of the statute is one of those 3 ways happens, and a charter commission is constituted, and then they act. If you read it any other way, it ignores the plain operating function of the language and the way a charter commission functions. That's my view.
And the way I had understood it was that 9.002 Section D was a holdover from when this was implemented in the Texas Constitution, when municipalities were allowed to do home rule charters, and they had realized that they did not have any mechanism to create home rule charters. So D was specifically there to allow for those grandfathered in to be able to do this. So a board had already existed, and they could legally make that happen. But that's not what we're dealing with here.
I know. That is not what we're dealing with here, and we're dealing with modern circumstances, which is you appoint a charter commission, and that charter commission then acts, which is what happened in our case. To me, that's legal.
Okay.
So I know I know you don't agree, and that's fine. I'm giving you my opinion, and you don't have to agree with it. It's just it's a basis, just like what you're talking about with Toma, that you have a reservation about that.
And as our attorney, that is the advice we're paying for, hourly paying for your legal advice, right?
Yes, you have retained our firm to act as city attorney to
That's
give you
right.
opinions.
We did.
And to give you representation.
Okay.
So just for clarification, at no point we needed to have an actual resolution, anything like that in your view? It was either the mayor can unilaterally appoint, or she could have petitioned 10% of the local citizens
Yes.
for that to then bring it forth. But through this mechanism, we don't need a resolution, there doesn't need to be any formation. So if we were to, try putting this into, if we were forming a city again, would we appoint Parks Board members prior to creating a Parks Board? Is that the same?
Yeah, that would be an analogy.
Okay.
And yes, to answer your question, yes, there does not need to be a resolution. The statute just says the mayor appoints. And that's what happened at a duly called meeting. So that's my view, that's my opinion. I'm trying to follow the plain language of the statute.
Do we put ourselves at any risk, and knowing your opinion, but obviously lawyers do well to argue both sides of everything.
I understand.
Do we take on any risk by potentially seeing someone bring something at a later time? That would be my concern with any of this, would be we understand that that's your opinion, you're ruling on it,
Yeah.
but there are people that are paid really good money to argue other sides as well. So where,
Sure.
I guess, is our risk tolerance in this going forward? What do you see as we try to figure out
Yeah.
how we navigate this moving forward? As this is a very unique
It
situation.
is, yeah. I'll give you my view, and then Fritz, if you want to chime in after I'm done. So what's happened is the Charter Commission was formed. They've acted over many, many months. The will of the people has been put together in the charter that's been presented to you, and now the election, our great process of, in our Republican Democratic government is happening, and there should be a vote on that charter, and the people should be able to vote. That's the greatness of our form of government. And so, but by the fact that those things have happened and the people have participated and they can vote, to me, that minimizes and mitigates any risk that somebody would challenge the process. Now, I'm not saying anybody can pay $100 and file a piece of paper and file a lawsuit. But you're right, there are well-paid lawyers that can challenge every jot and tittle of every document that exists. I cannot stop that from happening. But in my view, the risk is minimized, and it's more likely than not that we would prevail if it was challenged.
Okay, that is what I needed to know. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Fritz, do you have anything that you would add to that, or?
I have nothing to add, other than I would say that there's no private standing, so a private citizen, I don't think, could bring a lawsuit to challenge a sort of a procedural defect, and that's what it would be. It would have to be some sort of elected official. But
Yeah, taxpayer standing is very difficult to attain.
absolutely.
So my question is, how many attorneys have touched our documents at Mrs. Ford?
You talking about the charter itself, that process?
How many? Yes, because is it 5, 6 we paid?
Well, Melissa Cranford, our employment specialist, looked at
Right.
employment issues, and then Fritz and Judy looked at the legality.
Right.
Dr. Susan put together the timeline for the process. That's however many that is. 3 or 4, I don't know however many that is.
So four attorneys have done this, not just Fritz, right?
Yes.
4 attorneys have done this. Okay? That's what I'd like to know. Okay, so do we have any more discussion before we go into setting a special election for the Home Rule Charter?
Is there anything else, we had discussed going to executive, has that been now circumvented? There's nothing else that we feel the need to?
Happy to talk about legality issues or any other issues you want to talk about in attorney-client communication. Happy to do that. If you would like to do that, I'm happy to do that. If you want to talk about processes, for legal process, talk about that, happy to talk about that. I don't know if y'all feel that need, but if you do, happy to do it. If not, understand it.
I don't know if I do or not, honestly, but my whole thing in this, I just want to make sure that, and I think you have answered to it, that you feel strongly that the legality of this existed. I just want to mitigate the risk for the city in the future, and if that has been dealt with, then.
If you want to get firm opinions on hanging legal questions, happy to do that. It won't be tonight.
Are those legal questions potentially, for lack of a better term, fatal? If TOMA is a thing,
Well,
if we, let me give a theoretical.
Yeah, yeah.
If TOMA is required, and
Yeah.
we didn't approve this through a TOMA compliant process, then is the charter fatally flawed at that point?
Did you not already answer Toma?
No, he said he did not answer
No,
TOMA, and he would not answer TOMA tonight.
Right, that just
So you're
came
going to
up.
do more research?
Yeah. Let me give you another example.
Fair.
The example you and I just talked about in public, 9.003, about the constitution of the Charter Commission.
Right.
And then how that functions. If I'm wrong, if I have read this statute incorrectly and a court says your interpretation is accurate, that would be a problem. I don't think that will happen. I feel confident in my.
Sure, I'm not an
opinion,
attorney.
But if there was a lawsuit and they got challenged, even though it's a very, in my view, a minimal risk, and a court just not saying it would happen, I think we would prevail. But if a court sided in your interpretation of the charter provision, that would be a problem for that charter.
But is Fritz an attorney?
Well, yeah.
You've been with us.
Well, last time I checked, yes.
Yes, sir. I think you are. Yeah. And you've been with this.
But I don't know.
Every step of the way.
Him being with us and reviewing the legality of the charter itself cures the TOMA issue
Understand.
of approving it via email after the fact. That doesn't fix that.
Were you not copied on that? And in the middle of that discussion or not?
Yes, Mayor, I was.
Yes?
I was.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, the relatively minor changes that were made
Right.
at that point were essentially review issues that Councilman Wright pointed out.
Right.
And because of we have been operating under the assumption that TOMA applied for good measure. But I just gave the advice that Mr. Martin could get these relatively minor changes approved via email. I don't think that's going to affect the validity of the charter,
Okay.
especially if it is adopted by the voters of the city.
Okay.
I think that would be a ratification, at the very least, that isolates it from any TOMA violation.
Okay.
Then it would be subject to an election contest, which is its own special type of
That's correct.
litigation, has very stringent timeframes
Yes.
and standards to be able to challenge an election.
Okay.
But
For sure.
I do not believe, the whole reason for observing TOMA over this process was just transparency. I don't believe it's a legal requirement that the commission is subject to. So
Okay.
that's
Your
my-
legal opinion?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So can we go back to have a vote and move forward?
Sure, you can have, I don't know if there's any more discussion or.
Any more
Wanna
discussion tonight?
Open the floor.
Oh, okay. So, is there a motion to approve the ordinance calling the special election? from this council? Any motion to call a special election for home rule? Anyone on the council?
In light of some of the legalities that we've discussed tonight, I think my preference would be to table until we get a clear ruling on it. I think this document should go before our public. I think the Home Rule has worked very diligently and hard on this, and it should go to election. I would just like to make sure that we are within our legal bounds with every aspect that's been discussed, as there have been multiple. So
you're making a motion to go to special election?
to table tonight so that we can get further clarification on some of the legal issues brought up tonight. That would then put this on the agenda, or the November elections, the time when we have potentially more turnout as well. So I would prefer, and that would be my motion, to table this item tonight for further legal clarity and then bring it back forth to the public at that time.
Okay, so we do not have a motion to put it on the special election,
For tonight.
For May.
I would like to get it
right?
reviewed as
For
to the
May.
legalities again discussed.
Okay, so no one's going to call it for May. Yeah. Okay, so we have no motion.
I think I just made a
We can't go
motion.
forward. We're going to table it.
We have a motion.
Literally just made a motion.
I'm sorry?
We have a motion.
Made a motion to table to
So we're
discussion.
tabling it,
Now we get to vote. I was one
Second.
person.
right? Second? Scott, did you want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, we're tabling it. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we're moving on to 15. Moving on to our reports. These items are for informational purposes only. Item 15, special staff report, after action report on the city operations during the ice storm. I requested this report, so thank you for staff for giving us details. Would you like to come forward? And then I will
Charlie Snyder, Fire Marshal and EMC.
give us your reports.
We want to need, it should be included in your packet, correct? Did you have any questions?
Nope, just wanted to see your report on presenting.
It should be in your packet.
Okay?
Traditionally, with these quarterly reports, we've provided them and asked for questions in advance.
Okay, so I want to talk if you don't. If you got it in the packet, right? You're good? Okay, so I requested this report, and thank you for putting the details in the packet. On Friday, January 23rd, I met with Parker County Emergency Manager Jason Lane to discuss operational details in preparation for the ice storm. I didn't know until I read this report that our emergency management team did not include the mayor. When under the Texas Disaster Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 418, the mayor serves as the emergency management director for their city with authority to declare a local state of disaster that can last up to 7 days. Our Emergency Management City Code 1.07.031 follows state law, so the mayor should be listed on the team as a director of the team, and I appoint a coordinator to serve at the pleasure of the director. I have requested a meeting. I'm asking for it right now, that we have a meeting to rectify this severe oversight. That's what I would like to do. Okay?
Charlie, would you like to speak to that, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, so on July 12th of 2022, council and mayor appointed me as the emergency management coordinator.
2022?
Yes, that's
Okay.
There have been some changes, I recognize that.
Yes.
But respectfully, I have asked to meet with you. So if we operated in a mode that wasn't consistent with the way you'd like us to operate. I'd appreciate if those expectations were laid out in the near future.
Okay, well, I'm requesting that based on is the governor going to take your call, or is he going to take my call as the mayor? Because as I was reading it, I should have at least been included. That's what I'm requesting, because if I'm supposed to call, unless those have been changed, I'm supposed to call the governor, and I love the input that you have on it, being with the experience that you have, but as the one to call the governor of Texas, I definitely should have been included, definitely. Is there a reason I should not have been included?
Ma'am, you were included in the emails that were
I
out.
was not included on the 20th, I was included on the 23rd.
So
But
we
I
started
saw the
monitoring
report.
so we started monitoring unofficially this storm on the 20th and making staff preparations.
Right.
Our normal mode of operation, is the way that we operated, this is the way we've operated since 2022.
Right.
Again, if there was some sort of expectation that is not met, there's been no clear changes. There's been no sort of direction since you've taken office. My door's been open to you, my phone's on 24/7. I've given you opportunity to meet with me and never taken me up on that. I'm here to
Well-
support you in any way that I can, but I was just operating in our normal operating mode that we typically operate in and following the steps that we have generally taken since 2022.
2022, okay. Well, I just got here last year. I'm sorry, I'm kind of catching up with the way it
I understand there's been
works.
a lot going on.
But I mean, definitely, if I am responsible for the emergencies and being able to call the governor, so going forward, you can be sure that I'm included in everything as the mayor of this town, right?
Ma'am, you
So
were
at that point in time, I was appointed as the designee. So generally, I'd be making the call to state and federal resources. Well, the way that it generally goes is you have your city, and then it's going to go to county, and then it's going to go to state, and then you're going to go to federal,
Right?
built on the ICS system.
So you would be making the call to the governor.
In cooperation with city staff, I mean, if it got to that point.
Okay, so going forward, my request is that I myself, as the mayor of this town, want to be included
Absolutely.
in those issues, because what I did is I went and met with the emergency manager, Jason Lane, and I called him daily because I had no idea my own city did not include me. And he's the one who told me that we had closed one of the streets. I did not know
Ma'am,
that.
We sent you daily updates.
On the 23rd is when I
Right,
did
that's
not
when-
get
that's when-
included on the 20th, which is what I want to ask going forward. As soon as it's set up, I want to be contacted. I'm just asking
We were just
that.
making internal staff preparations. We hadn't taken any action at that point in time. We
Right.
didn't start that until the 23rd.
But I want
And
to
then we-
ask to be included.
That's fine.
Going forward as the mayor. Respectfully, I want to ask that because I know you've got the experience.
And you're entitled to that.
Right?
I'm not arguing.
Okay, perfect. That's what I want to request. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do is go through the reports. We didn't have the staff stay. I've talked to the city manager, Tony, about that, and so we did not have the staff stay. So we're going to go through 17 through 22, and if anybody has any questions, we'll ask those. Other than that, we'll just move on to 23. Okay, everybody good with that?
Good with that.
Okay, so now, what we're going to do, we're now going to move on to executive session items. In accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, the City Council will recess into executive session to discuss the following. Item 23, Section 551.074, personnel matters related to the city manager finalist interviews. Item 24, Section 551.071, consultations with the city attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation on the Belledine Ranch development. Item 25, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, City of Willow Park versus Half and Associates. Item 26, Section 551.071, consultation with the city attorney regarding matters listed on tonight's agenda as submitted by Buddy Wright. Time right now is 9:53. We're going to closed session. Thank you very much. Okay. At this time, we are reconvening in open session. It is now 11:14. Okay. Item 27 is for discussion and action regarding matters listed on the agenda as requested by Buddy Wright.
I will move to table this item.
Second.
So we're not doing 27?
Nope.
Okay. So you're tabling it for another time?
Next council meeting?
To be determined.
Is that the way it works?
Well, usually you have to specify the date of
Is
the
it-
next,
go ahead.
of when you want it to come back.
Give us
Let's
a
not
date.
do this one, let's go to the next one. That gives everybody
So in a
time to-
month,
Mhm.
so it'd be the second council meeting in March.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to write the second council meeting in March. We're going to do this one. Okay. Do you have that date? You want to put a date?
I don't, yeah, if you want to, I don't know the date.
Sure,
but
let's
Do you know the date?
I know 10th is the first.
Do you want two council meetings from now, meeting the first meeting in March, or do you want the actual?
The 24th will be the meeting.
So March 24th, we'll move this one to March 24th. Okay, got it. 28?
Mayor Palmer, we need a vote.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
go
what's
back
the
and
motion?
vote. Is there a motion?
We have
Yeah,
the
he's
motion.
made a
table.
We have the second.
Second.
I second it.
All in favor tonight? Okay, great. Okay, informational comments by interim co-city manager. Thank yous.
Mayor and Council, Michelle and I would just like to thank the members of staff who worked during the ice storm when we were officially closed. Fire Marshal EMC Charlie Snyder, Public Works Director Chase McBride, the Public Works crew, Communications Director Rose Hoffman, Finance Director Andy Saylor, City Planner Chelsea Kirkland, and Chief Lacey and the Willow Park Police Department. Thank you for keeping our city operations going and our residents safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 29, city council comments. So this one is a reaction response to the meeting, Buddy Wright, but there's no specific comments, which is what's required.
I asked Andy about this one, right?
Yeah, I mean, this gives you the topic, which is anything that's happened at this meeting is fair game for anybody for y'all to talk about.
In our last meeting, we were asked some specific questions around the Squaw Creek that we were not able to answer because it happened during citizen comments. And we had, because it wasn't on the agenda for us to speak about, we couldn't even respond then. So I wanted to reserve the right for any one of us on the council to react or respond to anything that happened in the meeting, to be able to give the citizens that input.
So it's not a violation of TOMA?
No.
To discuss non-specific? This is not?
What's specific is the 27 agenda items above.
Right.
So it's if they want to make a comment about anything at the meeting on the 27 agenda items, that's specific enough, I think.
It is? Okay, you're the attorney.
I don't know if there's anything y'all want to say, but.
Okay, anything anybody wants to say?
Yeah, I would like to apologize to Charlie Schneider. I don't think he deserved the way he was spoke to this evening. The man was doing his job. He did it well. and to be talked to like that was a little discouraging. And so I had a personal talk with Charlie, but I want everybody to know that I apologize to Charlie as well.
Which one is that?
Charlie Schneider, is he still here?
Is he the one doing her job?
He's, well, not doing her job, he was doing his job in capacity. Yes. That's him?
Yes.
Any other comments? Okay, number 30, mayor's comments. I didn't put anything on there. Item of community interest, none provided. Future agenda items, none provided. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Well, they can ask for future agenda items if they want, if anybody wants to.
Does somebody have one they want to add now? There's nothing on here. Does anybody want to add one?
I think it's similar to the reaction response, the ability to then take action, but I currently do not have any.
Okay, you don't. Anybody else? Moving on. Okay? Okay, moving on. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're adjourned at 11:19.